Chapter 11. Some nights, when he's walking past her door, he has to whisper to himself, "Keep going." Two things can be true at once. For instance, I like Alex because he's an intelligent, pleasant young man. And spending time together and watching him be terrified of me sparks joy. Just for fun, I'm tempted to contact a therapist and ask them to quantify how bad a person I am. But by the time Alex and I have been working side by side for 5 nights, I've accepted that reassuring him that I don't plan to feast on his plasma is futile. Nothing will convince him that I'm not going to exsanguinate him. And I really shouldn't enjoy it, but there's something genuinely fun about watching him move around the room like a contortionist to avoid giving me his back, or about running my tongue over my fangs and feeling the clatter of the keyboard stammer to a halt. It's usually followed by eyes scrunched shut and low whimpers he thinks I cannot hear, and the word children who bike all the way to my bedroom window just to point at it are right. I am a monster. And yet I carry on, even after overhearing Alex say, "Please, please, don't let me die until I turn 25 or I get to visit the Spy Museum, whatever comes first." Yeah, he prays a lot. He has no idea why his alpha tasked him with helping me in a where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. Errand, and to his credit, doesn't question it. Most of our work consists of re-examining Serena's correspondence, cross-referencing the people she had contact within the last few months for work connections. We gather info I couldn't have found on my own, like that one of the CEOs she interviewed last year for a story on speculative construction owns property near the We're Human border through a shell company. Even if most stuff leads to dead ends, I still feel closer to Serena than I have since she disappeared. Lowe checks in for updates once a day, briefly. Father's response to our lack of progress would be a mix of opaque threats and jabs at our intelligence, but Lowe manages to never sound pushy or disappointed, even as worry lines bracket his mouth and his shoulders strain under his shirt. Impressive, really, how civil he keeps it. Maybe it's part of that innate pull to leadership he has. Maybe they taught him patience at Alpha School. When I wake up on the 6th evening, Mick informs me that the Alpha has been called away on urgent pack business and brought Alex along. Without unsupervised access to technology, I once again have nothing to do. I feed, wander around the house until the sun fully sets, then move to the porch. The sky is prettier here, more expansive than in either human or vampire land, but I can't put my finger on why. I've been chin up, studying it for a quarter hour or so, when I hear a noise coming from the thicket. A wolf, I think, instantly ready to retreat inside the house. But no, it's a woman, Juno. She emerges from the trees, looking beautiful and powerful and naked. Newborn just slithered out of the birth canal naked. She waves, and then unhurriedly comes to sit on the chair next to mine. "Misery," she nods once courteously. "Hey, this is fucking weird. Just checking, you know you're naked, right?" I was on a run. The moon will fill tomorrow, and the light gleams off her glossy hair. Does it bother you? Does it? Number, does it bother you? She looks at me like I'm one of those humans who think premarital sex is a ticket to hell. "I've been meaning to talk to you." "You have." Talk to might be worse speak for severely injure. "To apologize." I tilt my head. "You helped Anna last week, with Max. Sounds like you guys were on it already." "True, but you cared, and Anna has been through enough that she could use more people who do that." Her full lips pressed together. "Lowe said you've been using your tech skills to help her, too." "Kind of. I'd hate for her to think I'm selfless when I'm obviously not. I'm sorry I was so harsh with you when we first met, but Lowe is like a brother to Cal and me, which makes Anna family, too, and I was." "Worried," I shrug. "I wouldn't be a fan of me either. I assumed you were being protective." She still looks apologetic. She had a hard time, and it will likely only get harder as she grows up. "Did Lowe tell you about Maria?" "Maria?" "Their mother. She was attacked by Roscoe when she criticized him over pack affairs. I don't think he wanted to kill her, but words can get carried away, especially in wolf form." He didn't say no, but I'd gathered as much. I cannot begin to imagine how traumatizing it must have been for Anna. seeing her only parent be hurt by the single were whose authority she'd been raised to never question. My chest is heavy. What a piece of shit. Juno laughs softly. You have no idea. He had some good years, but did Lowe tell you Roscoe felt so threatened he sent him away? Alex mentioned something like that. Where did he go? To the Northwest Pack with Cone. And maybe it was for the best. Lowe got to observe one of the best alphas in North America, and perhaps he wouldn't be nearly as good a leader if it weren't for Cone. But Lowe was 12. He was forced to leave his home without knowing if he'd ever be allowed to come back, and he did it. He was angry and frustrated, I felt it, but he never said. And when he came of age, he still wasn't allowed to come back, so he moved to Europe, went to school, started a career. He built a life, and then Roscoe became deranged. Many challenged him, but no one won. We asked Lowe to come back, and he let all of it go. Everything he'd worked for had to come after the pack. Lowe never had a choice on the matter. I think of flipping through pages. The pretty buildings in the drawer. My face. He hasn't had anything for himself, Misery. Not one thing. And I've never heard him complain about it, not once. Not that he had to leave, not that he had to take control of the largest pack in North America, not that he had to do it all alone. His life has been duty. She scans my face curiously, like I could right this injustice. I don't know what to say. I promise I'm not trying to make his life more difficult, and I feel so shitty about the mate thing. Juno's eyes widen. He told you about that? No, I'm not supposed to know, but a friend of my father's mentioned at the wedding that she was who I swapped with. I know his mate is the word collateral. Gabrielle. Gabrielle? Juno's look shifts from confused to blank to understanding. Yes, Gabi, his mate. I'm not trying to interfere with Lowe's happiness. Our marriage is not real, and he's free to find his happiness wherever he can. I bite into my lower lip. Honesty for honesty. There is a reason I agreed to this, and I've come clean to him about it. Her dark eyes linger on me, inquisitive. And after a long time, she says, it might be cruel of me, but I think that, deep down, I always hoped that Lowe would never find his mate. I'm still not wholly certain what that means. Why? Because being an alpha means always putting your pack first. I'm about to ask why the two things are incompatible, but she stands. I try not to stare at her nipples as she offers her hand. I'm sorry for the way I acted, and I'd love for you to accept my peace offering. Her words make me chuckle. When I notice her scowl, I hasten to add, sorry, it's not about you. I just remembered that when we were around 13, my sister and I used to have this really weird caregiver, and whenever we had a fight, he would force us to cut each other's toenails. What? I think he got it from a TV show. For each nail, we had to say something nice about each other. And the habit kind of stuck, and it became the way we fixed all our fights. That is gross. Juno might be too polite to agree. Would you like to do that now? Oh no, a handshake is so much better. I take her offered hand and grip it firmly. I don't know if you and I can ever be friends, she says, but I can be better. I smile at her, close-mouthed and fangless. Hell, I can only be better. Turns out, I was wrong about the full moon. It's further ahead than I thought, 3 whole nights, and the day before, Mick orders me not to leave my room, ideally, or the house, under any circumstances. He still looks out for me, but I haven't had a guard camped outside my door since my conversation with Lowe. How come? I ask curiously. I mean, I'll do as you say, but what's so different about the full moon? It takes a really powerful were to shift when the moon is small, and a really powerful were to not shift when it's big. All wers will be in their most dangerous form, including many youths who have little self-control. Better not test them with unusual sense. I laugh at his old Manielzate cloud eye roll, but later that night the persistent howling that seems to be all over the lakeshore gets to me. When my door opens without warning, I'm much jumpier than usual. Anna, I exhale and set aside my book. It's about a nosy elderly lady who solves murder mysteries in the Northeast Pack. I absolutely loathe her, but somehow I'm already at number 7 in the series. Why aren't you wolfing with? Oh. Right. Because she can't do that. Can I come into the closet with you? She has been visiting a lot, but usually doesn't ask for permission, just climbs next to me and plays the little games I code for her on the fly. Tonight seems different. Fine, but no cover hogging. Okay, she says. 2 minutes later, not only has she stolen my duvet, but she also appropriated my pillow. Pest. Why don't you sleep in a bed? 'Cause I'm a vampire. She accepts the explanation. Probably because she accepts me. Like Serena used to and no one else ever. I turn the page and we're silent for 3 more minutes, her breath hot and humid against my cheek. Usually Lowe stays human and hangs out with me when they're all gone, she says eventually. Her voice is small, and I know why. Alex returned yesterday, but Lowe is still out of town. That's why Anna sounds like something she rarely is, sad. I put down the book and turn to her. Are you saying I'm not as good company as Lowe? You're not, I glare, but soften when she asks. When will I be able to shift too? Shit, I don't know. Misha can do it already. I'm sure there are things you can do that Misha can't. She ponders the matter. I'm really good at braids. There you go. Pretty trivial skill, but... Can I braid your hair? Absolutely fucking no. A couple of hours later, 6 braids pull at my scalp, and Anna is snoring softly with her head in my lap. Her heartbeat is sweet, delicate, a butterfly finding a good landing flower, and fuck children for being little assholes who manipulate people into wanting to protect them. I hate that I curve my body around hers when I hear heavy, hurried steps through the walls. And I hate that when my bedroom door opens, I reach for the knife I stole from the kitchen and stashed under my pillow. I'm ready to kill to defend her. This is Anna's fault. Anna is forcing me to fucking kill. Lowe crouches at the entrance of my closet, his pale green eyes furious in the semi-darkness. Did you know, my dear wife, that when I came home during a full moon and could not locate my sister, I was ready to destroy my entire pack and torture all the wers guarding this house for their negligence? His whisper is pure, ominous threat. I shrug. No. I have been looking for her. And this is my fault, why? I make a show of blinking at him, and he closes his eyes, clearly gathering the strength to not butcher me, and clearly only because his sister is currently on me. Is she okay? He asks. Yes, I am the victim here, I hiss, pointing at the mess on my head. His eyes travel over the braids, abruptly stopping on the visible tips of my ears. I usually hide them, just to avoid upsetting people with my otherness, and the way Lowe stares at them, first with hypnosis-like intensity, then abruptly glancing away, only reinforces that resolution. I think Anna might want to become a hairdresser. You should encourage that. A better job than mine, for sure. No arguing that, especially when I notice the wound on his forearm, 4 parallel claw marks. It doesn't seem fresh, but there's still some green blood encrusted on it, and it smells. Whatever. Was it the Loyals? You were gone for a while. I don't even mind admitting that I noticed. I'm sure he's aware I don't have a particularly fulfilling routine. Regular internal pack business. Then a meeting with Maddie, the human governor-elect, and several Vampire Council members, your father included. Yikes. His lips nearly curl into a smile, but his expression remains grim. Maybe he went to vampire territory and managed to see his mate. Maybe he's angry that I'm what he comes home to these days. Can't blame him. Do you think, after having been an instrument of politics for a decade, I've done my best to pretend it doesn't exist? But I find myself wanting to know. Will they stick, these alliances? He doesn't reply, not even to say that he cannot know. Instead, he looks at me for many, many moments, as though the answer might be written on my face, as though I am the key to unlock this. If humans knew of Anna's existence, I say, thinking out loud. That humans and wers can... I let the thought dangle. She could be a powerful symbol of unity after centuries of strife. Or people could decide she's an abomination. Too unpredictable, he says, reading my mind and bending to take his sleeping sister from my lap. Lowe's hands brush mine in the exchange. When he stands, Anna instantly snuggles in his arms, recognizing him by scent even in her slumber. babbling something that sounds too heartbreakingly close to Mama for comfort. I want to ask him why I found a jar of creamy peanut butter in my fridge, if he's the reason the house is now 3 degrees warmer than when I arrived. But I somehow can't bring myself to, and then he's the one to speak. By the way, Misery. I look up at him. Yeah. We have sharper knives. He points at mine with his chin. That one isn't going to do shit to someone like me. It's not. Third drawer from the fridge. I listen to his heavy steps, and once the door to my room clicks closed, I pick up my book and start reading again. Thanks for the tip, I guess. Chapter 12. The burden has been feeling lighter, but he lies to himself about the reason, attributing it to habit, and the fact that he's growing into his role. It reminds me of a sketch in a comedy show, so absurd that I lean against the doorframe of Lowe's office and observe it in silence for a few minutes, amused by the visual. It's the big man, and the way he handles small gadgets, frowning down at them like they're poisonous spiders. The way he types at the keyboard with one single finger, and the way he doesn't seem to be able to follow simple instructions, even though Alex is explaining stuff to him in the tone of someone who's ready to bungee jump out of his own life. Won't be activated until you enter this line of code. I entered it, Lowe rumbles. Exactly the way I wrote it here, on this piece of paper. I did. It's case sensitive. Alpha, he tacks on, reminding himself that Lowe's his boss, his very stubborn boss. The problem is this fucking machine. Lowe lifts his hand, ready to hit what has to be an expensive piece of technology, which leads to Alex chanting with a Dostoevskian level of dread, "Oh my God, oh my God," which in turn leads to Lowe promising, "It's stuck. I'll punch it once and it'll fix itself," which of course leads to Alex, whom Lowe does not pay enough, suddenly being on the verge of tears. That's when I take pity on both of them and say, I don't think percussive maintenance is the answer to a coding error. They both turn to me, saucer-eyed and vaguely embarrassed, as they should be. Alex, are you really teaching Lowe how to code? I am attempting to. Alex gives both of us a look. He's usually more at ease with me when Lowe's around, but he must know he's momentarily on his alpha's shit list. How many times have you guys been over this? A handful, Lowe mutters just as Alex says, 16. I whistle, big hands, my eyes flick to Lowe's. It's fine, I'll figure this coding thing out when I'm there. I can improvise. He stands, and Alex and I exchange an incredulous look, the words digital illiterate floating in the air between us in papyrus. Lowe's incompetence might be healing the rift between us. I'll call you. You'll guide me on the phone, he tells Alex, this time with more gravity. I'm concerned for your safety. There could be traps. I'll deal with them. Lowe puts his hand on Alex's shoulder, reassuring. I'm about to break my none of my business rule and ask what this is about when Mick appears. Dinner is ready, Anna, cooked, he says the last word with a small wince, and requested everyone's presence. He looks at me, yours included. I frown, me. She asks specifically for Myrcy. Is she aware that I don't eat? Lowe folds his arms on his chest. You do, in fact. SHHHH. I gesture frantically at him to shut his yapping mouth and turn to Mick. I'm coming, we're coming, let's go. Lowe's smirk can only be described as evil. Anna is delighted to see me. She runs to me, a blur of sparkly pink cotton and unicorn ears, and wraps her little arms around my waist. We don't always have to hug, I tell her. She squeezes harder. I sigh, fine, sure. It's been nearly a week since the full moon, and the cumulative time I've spent with my husband since then wouldn't be enough to bring a kettle to boil. But Juno came to visit one night and brought a deck of cards, and came back 2 nights later and brought a movie and Gemma and Fleur and Arden, and both evenings felt similar. Odd, but fun. I'm with Alex all the time, and Cal's daughter Misha asked to meet me to see a real-life leech, and a couple other seconds stopped by because they were in the area, just to introduce themselves, and... It's unexpected, especially after my rocky start. I should be a pariah, I am one, but I don't think I fit in this place any more poorly than I did among the humans or the vampires. In the past 7 days, I've had more social interactions than ever before. No, more positive social interactions than ever before. The Wers are being surprisingly amicable, even though they know I'm a vampire. And I'm being surprisingly relaxed with them, perhaps because they know I am a vampire. It's a new experience, being treated as what I am. And now I'm sitting at a table with Lowe, Mick, and Alex, while Sparkles watches us from the windowsill, and Anna serves goldfish crackers, heavily implying they are seafood. I hear their heartbeats mixed together like an out-of-tune symphony, and the stray thought hits me that Lowe is my husband, and Anna is my sister-in-law. Technically, I'm having the first family dinner of my life. Like those human sitcoms, the ones with 20 minutes of banter about snap peas that only sounds funny because of the laugh track. I let out a befuddled snort and everyone turns to me curiously. Sorry, carry on, please. I'm proud of the way I cut my meatloaf and move the crackers around the plate to mimic a half-eaten meal. But I'm not very good at using cutlery, and the context, a meal, shared, is as foreign to me as crocodile wrestling. Anna, of course, notices. Why is she acting like that? She whispers theatrically from the head of the table, pointing at my ramrod straight spine, the way I lift and lower my fork like an animatronic puppet. She's just not very good at this. Be kind, Lowe murmurs back from next to me. Anna nods owl-eyed and moves the conversation to the important matter of whether she'll get a new pair of roller skates before her birthday, what color they might be, will they have glitter, and more important, will Juno take her to the rink to practice? I get to observe Lowe when he's relaxed. He pretends not to know what roller skates are to irk Anna just a little bit, or that her birthday is coming up to irk her a whole lot. When he's not leading a pack against a group of violent dissidents, he smiles quite a bit. There is something soothing about his teasing humor and his innate self-confidence. When is your birthday? Anna asks me, after Mick reveals an unexpected expertise in astrology and informs Anna that she's a Virgo. Alex is an Aquarius, a fact that, like everything else under the sun, violently alarms him. I don't have one, I tell her, still reeling from the mental image of middle-aged, rugged Mick perching rimmed glasses on his nose and settling in bed with a copy of the Zodiac for Dummies. My mate used to dabble, he whispers at me, picking up on my befuddlement. Peas sputter out of Anna's mouth. How can you not have a birthday? I don't know what day I was born. I could find out from council records since it was the day Mother died. I doubt Father would know. It might have been spring. How do you keep track of your age? Alex asks. I count one up on Vampire New Year's Day. And you have a party. I shake my head at Anna. We don't do parties. No, gatherings, soirees, board game nights, communal blood drinking. Alex is shocked, maybe relieved. I wonder what stories he was told as a child when he resisted cleaning his bedroom. We don't commune. We don't meet in large groups, unless it's to set up war strategies or business strategies or other kinds of strategies. Our social life is all strategizing. For the next Father's Day, I should get him a mug that says all I care about is machinating and like 3 people. Except we don't celebrate Father's Day, either. But if we did have communal blood drinking, we'd feast on promising young computer engineers, I add, and then smack my lips as though I'm thinking of a scrumptious meal, just to watch Alex pale. Regarding blood, Mick warns, while Anna spills several gallons of water on the table under the guise of pouring us cocktails. Misery, the blood bank messaged us that this week's delivery will be delayed a couple of days. Delayed, Alex chokes out. Mick's eyebrow lifts. You seem very invested, Alex. I didn't know you've been partaking. No, but what will she eat? I guess I'll have to find another source of blood. Who could it be? Let's see. I drum my fingers against the edge of the table to create suspense. It sure works on Anna, who's looking at me gape-mouthed. Who smells good around? Lowe's hand closes around mine. Our wedding bands clink together as he lifts it from the table and sets it in my lap, his grip lingering for a second. I feel hot. I shiver. Lowe clicks his tongue. "Stop playing with your food, wife," he murmurs, and it feels almost intimate, smiling at him and catching the amused gleam in his eyes while Alex crumples into himself. "She has several bags left," he informs Alex, who's trying to camouflage with the wallpaper. "Let's make up a birthday for you," Anna proposes, bright-eyed, "and have a big party." Yikes, I scrunch my nose. Let's not. Let's, yes. Your birthday is this weekend, and you're going to have a bouncy castle. I'm not a very bouncy person. And this weekend your brother will be gone, Anna, Mick says. Alex's fork clicks against his plate. Something shifts, and the silence in the room is suddenly tense as Lowe chews his meatloaf. "Feel free to have the party without me," he says once he's swallowed, with the calm, effortless tone of someone who knows that every word of his is law. Then, with a conspiratorial wink at Anna, "Take pictures of Myersey bouncing." She nods enthusiastically as Mick offers, "Or you could cancel." Lowe sips on his water and doesn't reply, but it's clear that this conversation has been ongoing for a while. "At least take Cal with you." Cal wasn't invited, and anyway, I'm not bringing a father of two into that. "But you are going." Mick's usually mellow tone hardens. "It's too dangerous for your most trusted second, but for the alpha of the pack." "For the alpha, it's duty," Lowe interrupts, conclusive. "I've been in this pack for over 50 years, and I can promise you that no other alpha would have agreed to those conditions. You're going above and beyond and have no self-preservation." I have no idea what the context is, but Mick is probably right. There is something selfless about Lowe, as though when he became alpha, he left behind any trace of himself. Or, more accurately, locked it into a drawer. "Were those alphas dealing with internal sedition?" Lowe responds, calm and harsh at once. Mick looks away, more sad than chastised. Anna picks up on it. "Lowe," her voice is small, "where are you going this weekend?" He smiles at her warmly, his tone instantly softer. "To California." "What's in California?" I'm glad she asked, because I was about to, and I'm not entitled to this piece of information. "It's pack territory. An old friend lives there. Uncle Cone will be there too." "Emery's no friend, Lowe," Mick interjects. "And that's precisely why I cannot pass up the opportunity to have access to her house." "It's not an opportunity. If you could bring Alex or someone else who's tech-savvy to help you with your plan, yes, but not on your own." "Hang on, I'm too curious to shut up. Isn't Emery Roscoe's former?" I don't need a reply, not going by the men's faces. "Oh, shit." Anna chortles. "You're almost disappointingly easy," I tell her, and she chortles harder, then sneaks around Lowe's chair to sit on my legs and steal my goldfish. I don't know what it is about me that says please make yourself at home on my lap, but I'll have to fix that. "Lowe, are you really going to meet with this lady?" Mick gives me a validated smile. Alex is, as usual, terrified. Lowe's withering look says, "Not you, too, and by the way, who the fuck gave you the right?" "Which fair?" "You know Emery is behind everything that is happening," Mick says. "But I have no proof, and until I have indisputable evidence, I will not act against her." "You could. It would be a show of strength." "Not the kind of strength I'm interested in showing." "Max already told you." A mumbled confession about who he believed sent him when he was under thrall by a vampire is unlikely to hold up in a tribunal. Lowe's striking face is stony, but I see the fatigue around the edges. It must be tiresome, being a decent person, and I can't relate. I revel in my moral flexibility. Meeting Emery on her turf is how I get that evidence. Or how you get yourself. Mick's eyes dart to Anna, and he doesn't continue, but the word killed bounces between the adults at the table. "Do you really think I cannot hold my own against her guards?" Lowe asks, leaning back in his chair. His lips curve into a smile. He looks less like a diplomatic leader and more like the cocky, invincible 20-something young man he is. "Come on, Mick. You've seen me fight." Mick sighs. "Just because we haven't found your limit yet doesn't mean there isn't one." "Doesn't mean there is, either." Anna turns on my lap and climbs up my torso like a squirrel, hugging my neck and nuzzling my hair. It's the most direct physical contact I've experienced ever, To my surprise, not excessively unpleasant. I ask, "Are you sure Emery would agree to meet you after you slaughtered her husband?" She extended the invitation, Mick says, resigned. No way. As is customary for the mate of the previous alpha, to guarantee a peaceful succession. Wow. Anna starts fidgeting and reaches out for Lowe, but he's exchanging a long stare with Mick and doesn't notice. I pat his arm to get his attention, and he gives me a wide-eyed, disturbed look, like I tried to scorch him with a cattle iron. Does he think my smell is going to rub off? He's way more skunk-adjacent than I'll ever be. I think it's a trap, Mick decrees. Lowe shrugs. The movement delights Anna, so he repeats it. I'm willing to risk it. But my mind is made up. He smiles at Anna and shifts register. I'll have someone look into bouncy castles, he adds, and the rest of the dinner conversation is just that, Anna planning the cake she'll buy for my birthday, Alex concerned that my fangs will pierce the inflatables, Lowe looking at us with an amused expression. We stay longer than the time it takes to finish the meal. A common occurrence, apparently, spending time chatting about nothing of particular importance. Where's social customs are different, and they have me wondering how Lowe's mate is faring among my people. She left friends behind, family, a partner. Who is she having around-the-table conversations with? I picture her trying to chat with Owen, and Owen excusing himself to go capture a mountain lion to set after her. I shake my head and tune back into the conversation. Anna laughs, Lowe grins, Alex smiles. And then there's Mick, who stares at me with a worried expression on his weathered face. Chapter 13. He tries to avoid thinking about what he'd do to her father, if only it wouldn't cause the worst diplomatic incident of the current century. Anna was right. It isn't that difficult, climbing up to the roof, even for someone with the hand-eye coordination of a platypus. I ease me. It takes me less than 15 seconds to get there, and it's vaguely empowering, the way I never even feel like my brains will end up splattered in the plumbago flower bed. Once I'm sitting on the tiles, vaguely uncomfortable but not willing to admit it, I close my eyes and breathe in, then out, then in, letting the breeze play with my hair, welcoming the tickle of the night sky. The waves wash gently over the shore. Every once in a while, something splashes on the lake. I don't even mind the bugs, I tell myself. If I persevere, I'll believe it. That's what I'm failing at when Lowe arrives. He doesn't notice me right away, and I get to observe him as he gracefully lifts himself up the eave. He stands on an edge that should be terrifying, lifting a hand to his eyes and pressing thumb and index fingers into them, so hard he must see stars. Then he lets his arm drop to his side and he exhales once, slowly. This, I think, is Lowe. Not Lowe the alpha, Lowe the brother, Lowe the friend or the son or the unfortunate husband of the equally unfortunate wife. Just Lowe. Tired, I think. Lonely, I assume. Angry, I bet. And I don't want to disturb his rare moment alone, but the breeze lifts, blowing in his direction and carrying my scent. He instantly spins around. To me. And when his eyes become all pupils, I lift my hand and awkwardly wave. Anna told me about the roof, I say, apologetic. I'm intruding on a cherished private moment. I can leave. He shakes his head stoically. I swallow a laugh. If you sit here, I point to my right, you'll be between me and the wind, no bouillabaisse smell. His lips twitch, but he makes his way to the spot I was pointing at, his large body folding next to mine, far enough to avoid accidental touches. What do you even know about bouillabaisse? As it's not hemoglobin or peanut-based, nothing. So, I clap my hands. The cicadas quiet, then resume their singing after a disoriented pause. Tell me if I got it right. You'll use your meeting with Emery as an excuse to plant some spyware or interceptor that will allow you to monitor her communications and gain proof that she's leading the loyals. But you are going into enemy territory alone and have the computer skills of an octogenarian Luddite, which puts you at great risk. Actually, no need to tell me if I'm right, I already know. When are you plunging to your imminent death? Tomorrow or Friday? He studies me like he's not sure whether I'm a bench or a postmodern sculpture. A muscle twitches in his jaw. I truly don't get it, he muses. Get what? How you manage to stay alive despite your reckless outbursts. I must be very smart. Or incredibly stupid. Our eyes clash for a few seconds, full of something that feels more confusing than antagonism. I glance away first. And just say it without thinking it through. Take me with you. Let me help with the tech part. He huffs out a tired, noiseless snort. Just go to bed, Misery, before you get yourself killed. I'm nocturnal, I mutter. Little offensive that my husband doesn't think I can take care of myself. A lot offensive that my wife thinks that I'd take her with me into a highly volatile situation where I might not be able to protect her. Okay, fine. I glance back at him, his earnest, stubborn, uncompromising face. In the fading moonlight, the lines of his cheekbones are ready to slice me. You can't do it on your own, though. He gives me an incredulous look. Are you telling me what I can and cannot do? Oh, I would never, Alpha, I say with a mocking tone that I only half regret when he glares back. But you can't even start a computer. I can start a fucking computer. Lowe, my friend, my spouse. You're clearly a competent were with many talents, but I've seen your phone. I've seen you use your phone. Half of your gallery is blurry pictures of Anna with your finger blocking the camera. You type Google in the Google bar to start a new search. He opens this mouth, then snaps it closed. You were about to ask me why that's the wrong way. You're not coming. His tone is definitive. And when he makes to stand, driven away by my insistence, I feel a stab of guilt and reach out for the leg of his jeans, pulling him back down. His eyes fix on the place where I'm gripping him, but he relents. Sorry, I'll let the matter go. For now. Please don't leave, I'm sure you came here too. What do you do here anyway? Scratch your claws, howl at the moon. Deflea myself. See, I wouldn't want to be in your way, do go on. I wait for him to pick critters out of his hair. Shouldn't you be sleeping anyway? You are not nocturnal. It's past midnight. Prime awake time for me, the cicadas, and no one else for miles. I don't sleep much. Right, Anna said that, when she mentioned that he had insomnia. His eyebrow quirks. You seem overjoyed by my inability to get decent rest. Yes, no, but Anna mentioned you had pneumonia and... He smiles. She mixes up words often. Yup. According to Google, which I apparently don't know how to use, his side look is blistering. It's normal for her age. He looks pensive for a long moment as his smile sobers. I can't imagine how difficult it must be. Learning to talk. That too, but also raising a young child, out of the blue. Not as difficult as being raised by some asshole who doesn't know to buy a car seat for you, or gives you Skittles before bed because you're hungry, or lets you watch The Exorcist because he's never seen it. But the protagonist is a young girl, and he figures that you'll identify with her. Wow, Serena and I watched that at 15 and slept with the lights on for months. Anna watched it at 6 and will need expensive therapy well into her 40s. I wince. I'm sorry, for Anna mostly, but also for you. People usually ease into parenthood. We're not born knowing how to change diapers. Anna's potty trained, not by me, obviously. I'd have somehow managed to teach her to piss out of her nose. He runs a hand over his short hair and then rubs his neck. I was unprepared for her, still am, and she's so fucking forgiving. I rest my temple on my knees, studying the way he stares into the distance, wondering how many nights he comes up here in the witching hour. To make decisions for thousands. To beat himself up for not being perfect. Despite how competent, self-denying, and assured he appears to be, Lowe might not like himself very much. You used to live in Europe. Where? He seems surprised by my question. Zurich. Studying. His shoulders heave with a sigh. At first, then working. Architecture, right? I don't fully get it. Buildings are kind of boring. I'm grateful they don't fall on top of my head, though. I don't get how one can type stuff into a machine all day and not be terrified of a robot uprising. I'm grateful for Mario Kart, though. Fair enough. I smile at his tone because it's the poutiest I've ever heard. I must have found his touchy spot. I do like the style of this home, I volunteer magnanimously. It's called biomorphic. How do you know? You learned it in school. That, and I designed it as a present for my mother. Oh, wow. I guess he's not just an architect, he's a good architect. When you studied, did you do the human thing? Their school system is often the only option, simply because there's more of them and they invest in education infrastructure. In vampire society, and I assume among WERs too, formal degrees are not worth the paper they're printed on. The skills that come with them, however, are priceless. If we want to acquire them, we create fake IDs and use them to enroll at human universities. Vampires tend to take online classes because of the fangs, and the whole degree burns in the sunlight thing. WERs are undetectable to humans' naked eye and could come and go from their society more easily, but humans have installed technology that singles out faster than normal heartbeats and higher body temperatures in plenty of places. Honestly, I'm just lucky they never expected vampires would go to the trouble of filing their own fangs and never developed the same degree of paranoia about us. Zurich was different, actually. Different. WERs and humans were attending openly. A few vampires, too, all living in the city. Wow, I know there are places like that around the world, where the local history between the species is not so fraught, and living side by side, if not together, is considered normal. It's still hard to imagine, though. Did you have a vampire girlfriend? I point at my ring finger. Once you go vamp, you can never go back, huh? He gives me a long-suffering look. You'll be astonished to hear the vampires didn't hang out with us. How snobby. I fold my hand back in my lap but start playing with my wedding band. Why all the way to Zurich? Were you on the run from Roscoe? On the run. His cheeks stretch into an amused grin. Roscoe was never a threat, not to me. That's brave of you, or narcissistic. Both, maybe, he acknowledges, then quickly turns serious. It's hard to explain dominance to someone who doesn't have the hardware to understand it. Lowe, was that a computer metaphor? I get another of those don't sass me looks and laugh. Come on, at least try to explain it. He shakes his head. If you met someone without a nose and had to explain to them what a smell feels like, what would you tell them? He looks at me expectantly, and I open my mouth half a dozen times, only to close it just as many, frustrated. Yup. He doesn't even sound too told-you-so-why. It was like that with Roscoe. He was a grown adult. I was barely past puberty, but I always knew that he was never going to win a fight against me, and he always knew it, and everyone in the pack knew it too. As much as I despise him now, I'm thankful that he gave me long enough without a reason to challenge him. Without becoming a despotic leader, he means. What changed him? Hard to say. His views escalated very suddenly. He licks his full lips, looking far away in the grip of a memory. I got the phone call and didn't even have the time to stop by my apartment on the way to the airport. My mother had vocally opposed a raid. She was wounded, and Anna was defenseless. Shit. It was 11 hours and 40 minutes from the moment I got the phone call until I pulled up Cal's driveway and found Anna sobbing in Misha's room. His tone is emotionless, almost disturbingly so. I was terrified. I can't imagine. Or can I? Those first few days after Serena was gone, and I was so frantically preoccupied with looking for her that it didn't occur to me to bathe or feed until my head pounded and my body was feverish. Did you ever get to go back to Zurich, to pick up your stuff, too? Get closure, say goodbye to the life you'd built. Maybe you had friends, a girlfriend, a favorite takeout place. Maybe you used to sleep in the morning or take long weekend trips to travel around Europe and check out buildings or something. Maybe you had dreams. Did you go back to retrieve those? He shakes his head. My landlord mailed a couple of things, threw out the rest. He scratches his jaw. Feel kinda bad for leaving my dirty breakfast dishes in the sink. I chuckle. It's kind of your thing, isn't it? What? He turns to me. Blaming yourself for being anything less than perfect. If you want to wash my dishes, by all means. Shush. I lightly bump my shoulder into his like I do with Serena when she's being obtuse. He stiffens, stills in a breathless sort of tension for a moment, then slowly relaxes as I pull away. So, this dominance thing. Is Cal the second most dominant WER in the pack? This sounds foreign, like picking words at random. Magnetic fridge poetry. We're not a military organization. There's no strict hierarchy within the pack. Cal just happens to be someone I trust. Can't be more dysfunctional than arbitrary councils whose membership is established through primogeniture. And humans elect leaders like Governor Davenport. Clearly, there's no perfect solution here. Did he also have to challenge someone to become a second? Maybe Ken Doll. It's fucked up that I know who you're referring to. I chuckle. Hey, he has never introduced himself. Ludwig. His name is Ludwig. And our pack has over a dozen seconds who are chosen within their huddle through a caucus system. Huddle. It's a web of interconnected families, usually geographically close. Each second reports to the alpha. After Roscoe, new seconds were elected, which means that most of them are as new to this as I am. Mick is the only one who kept his position. You mean, the only one who didn't try to kill you? Yup. His laugh could be bitter, but it is. He and his mate were close friends of my mother, S. Shannon used to be a second, too. Did you kill her? I ask, conversationally, and he's so gonna push me off the roof. Misery. It's a fair question, given your precedence. No, I did not kill the mate of the man who used to change my diapers. He massages his temple. Hell, they both did. They taught me how to ride bikes and track prey. What happened to her? She died 2 years ago during a confrontation at the eastern border. With humans, we think. He swallows. So did Mick's son. He was 16. Not something my people would be above, but I still flinch. That explains why he always seems so melancholic. He smells like grief, all the time. Well, he's my favorite were. I hug my knees. He's always so nice to me. That's because he has a weakness for beautiful women. What does that have to do with me? You know what you look like. I laugh softly, surprised by the backhanded compliment. Why do you always do that? He asks. Do what? When you laugh, you cover your lips with your hand, or you do it with your mouth closed. I shrug. I wasn't aware, but I'm not surprised. Isn't it obvious? It's not, judging by his puzzled look. Okay, I'm going to be super vulnerable with you. I take a deep, theatrical breath, steeple my hands. You may not know this about me, but I'm not like you. I'm actually another species called Misery. His hand comes up to snatch my wrist. My breath catches in my throat. Why do you hide your fangs? You're the one who told me to. I asked you not to respond to an act of aggression with another act of aggression, to avoid coming home and finding my wife torn to pieces, and someone torn in even smaller pieces next to her. His hand is still around my wrist, warm, a bit tighter. His touch flusters me. This is different. Is it? Would you not tear me into pieces? Come on, Lowe. I free my arm and cradle it to my chest. You know what my teeth are like. Come on, Misery, he mocks. I do know, and that's why I don't get why you hide them. We stare at each other like we're playing a game and trying to make the other lose. Want me to show you? I'm trying to provoke him, but he just nods solemnly. I'd like to know what we're dealing with, yeah. Now. Unless you need specific tools or have a previous engagement. Is it bath time? You want to see my fangs, now. His look is vaguely pitying. It's just, I'm not sure what's so concerning about the idea of him seeing them. Maybe I'm just remembering being 9 and the way my human caregivers always stopped smiling the second I began. A driver, making the sign of the cross. A million other incidents through the years. Only Serena never minded. Is this a trap? Are you looking for an excuse to watch my entrails fertilize the plumbago? Would be highly inefficient, since I could just push you and no one in my pack would question me. What a beautiful flex. He makes a show of hiding his hands behind his back. I'm harmless. He's as harmless as a landmine. He could destroy entire galaxies with a stern look and a growl. Fine, but if your wolfy sensibilities are repulsed by my vampiric tusks, remember you asked for it. I'm unsure how to initiate it. Snarling, pulling my upper lip back with my fingers like human dentists do in toothbrush commercials, biting into his hand for an applied demonstration, all seem impractical. So I simply smile. When the cold air hits my canines, my lizard brain screams at me that I'm caught. I'm found out. Fine, actually. Lowe's pupils splay out. He studies my canines with his usual unalloyed attention, without recoiling or trying to eat me. Little by little, my smile shifts into something sincere. Meanwhile, he looks. And looks. And looks. Are you okay? My voice snaps him back into his body. His grunt is vague, not quite affirmative. And you don't, he clears his throat. Use them. What? Oh, my fangs. I run my tongue over my right one, and Lowe closes his eyes and then turns away. Either too gross or he's scared. Poor little Alpha. We all feed from blood bags with very few exceptions. What exceptions? I shrug. Feeding from a living source is kind of outdated, mostly because it's a huge hassle. I do think that mutual blood drinking is sometimes incorporated into sex, but remember how I was cast out as a child and am universally known for being a terrible vampire. I should force Owen to explain the nuances of it to me, but, it's not like I plan to get that close to another vampire ever. I'm not going to bite you, Lowe. Don't worry. I'm not worried. He sounds hoarse. Good, so now that I've shown you my fearsome weapons, you'll take me to Emery S with you. It is, after all, the honeymoon you owe your bride. Pleasure doing business with you. I'll go pack and... I make to stand, but his hand snatches me back down. Nice try. I sigh and lean backward, wincing when the tiles press into my spine. The stars crowd the sky, drift us into a moment of silence. Want to know a secret? I ask, weary. Something I thought I'd never admit to anyone. One arm brushes against my thigh as he twists to look at me. I'm surprised you'd want to tell me. I am too, but I've carried it so tirelessly, and the night feels so soft. Serena and I had a huge fight a few days before she disappeared, the biggest ever. Lowe remains quiet, which is exactly what I need from him. We fought plenty, mostly about trivial shit, sometimes over stuff that took us a bit to cool down. We grew up together and were at our most annoying with each other. You know, sisters. She spat into the pockets of the caretakers who were mean to me, and I read smutty books to her while she was so sick she needed IV drips. But also I hated that sometimes she just wouldn't pick up her phone for days, and she hated that I could be a stone-hearted bitch, I guess. That last fight we had, we were both fuming after. And then she never showed up to help me put on the duvet cover, despite knowing that it's the single hardest thing in the universe. And now the things she said keep circling in my head, like sharks that haven't been fed in months. I can't see Lowe's expression from down here, which is ideal. And what do the sharks say? She got a recruiter from this really cool company interested in me. It was a good job, something challenging. Something only a dozen people in the country could do. And she kept telling me how perfect I'd be for it, what an opportunity it was, and I just couldn't see the point, you know. Yes, it was a more interesting job with more money, but I kept wondering why. Why would I bother? What's the end goal? And I asked her, and she... I take a deep breath. Said that I was aimless, that I didn't care about anything or anyone, including myself, that I was static, headed nowhere, wasting my life. And I told her that it wasn't true, that I did care about stuff, but I couldn't name anything, except for her. This apathetic spiral of yours, Misery. I mean, I get it, you spent the first 2 decades of your life expecting to die, but you didn't. You're here now. You can start living. Dude, you're not my mother or my therapist, so I'm not sure what gives you the right to. I am out there trying. I had a fucked up life too, but I'm dating, trying to get a better job, having interests. You're just waiting for time to pass. You are a husk, and I need you to care about one single fucking thing, Misery, one thing that's not me. The sharks gnaw at the inner walls of my skull, and I won't be able to make them stop until I find Serena, but in the meantime, I can distract them. Anyway, I sit up with a smile. Since I so selflessly opened my heart to you, will you tell me something? That's not how. What the hell is a mate, precisely? Lowe's face doesn't move a millimeter, but I know that I could fill a Babel tower of notebooks with how little he wants to have this conversation. No way. Why? No. Come on. His jaw works. It's a thing. Hence, me asking you to explain. Because I suspect that it's not just the were equivalent of marriage or a civil union, or the steady commitment that comes with sharing monthly payments to multiple overpriced streaming services one forgot to discontinue. No. Lowe, come on. You've trusted me with far bigger secrets. Ah, fuck. He grimaces and rubs his eyes, and I think I won. Is it another thing I don't have the hardware for? He nods and almost seems sad about it. I understood the whole dominance thing. We really made some strides in the past 15 minutes. Give me a chance. He turns to me. Suddenly he feels a little too close. Give you a chance, he repeats, unreadable. Yeah, the whole rival species bound by centuries of hostility until the bloody demise of the weakest will put an end to the senseless suffering. Thing might seem discouraging, but... No buts, just tell me. His lips quirk into a smile. A mate is... The cicadas quiet. We can only hear the waves gently lapping into the night. Who you are meant for, who is meant for you. And this is a uniquely were experience that differs from human high schoolers writing lyrics on each other's yearbooks before heading to separate colleges. How? I might be culturally offensive, but his shrug is good-natured. I've never been a human high schooler, and the experience of it might be similar. The biology, of course, is another matter. The biology. There are physiological changes involved with meeting one's mate. He's choosing his words with circumspection, hiding something, maybe. Love at first sight. He shakes his head, even as he says, in a way, maybe, but it's a multisensory experience. I've never heard of someone recognizing their mate just by sight. He wets his lips. Scent is a big part of it and touch, but there's more. It triggers changes inside the brain, chemical ones. Science articles have been written about it, but I doubt I'd understand them. I'd love to get my hands on were academic journals. Every were has one. A mate? No, it's fairly rare. Most wers don't expect to find one, and it's by no means the only way to have a fulfilling romantic relationship. Cal, for example, is very happy. He met his wife on a dating app, and they went through years of push and pull before getting married. So he settled. He wouldn't consider it that. Being mates is not a superior kind of love. It's not intrinsically more valuable than spending your life with your best friend and getting to love their quirks. It's just different. If they are so happy, could his wife be his mate? Could he have overlooked the signals when he met her? No, he stares at the moonlit water. When we were young, I was there when Cone's sister met her mate. We were on a run. She smelled her, suddenly went real still in the middle of the field. I thought she was having a stroke. He smiles. She said that it felt like discovering new colors, like the rainbow had gained a few stripes. I scratch my temple. It sounds like a good thing. It's really good. Not always the same, though, he murmurs as if he's talking to himself, processing things through his explanations. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling, something that grabs you by the stomach and doesn't let go, not ever. World-shaking, yes, but also just there, new but timeless. That's how you felt, with your mate. This time, he turns to look at me. I don't know why it takes him so long to produce that simple. Yeah. God, this is just total utter shit. Lowe has a mate, which is apparently amazing. But his mate is stuck among my people while he's married to me. I'm so sorry, I blurt out. His gaze is calm, too calm. You shouldn't be sorry. I can be sorry if I want to. I can apologize. I can prostrate myself and... Why are you apologizing? Because, in a year at the most, I'm going to peace out. His well-being is not my responsibility, but already so much has been taken from him and swiftly exchanged with bricks of duty. You'll be able to be with your mate, and you'll live bitingly ever after. There's biting involved, right? Yeah, the bite is. His gaze flickers down to my neck, lingers. Important. It looks painful. Mix, I mean. No, he husks, eyes on me, my pulse flickers. Not if it's done right. He must have one on his body. A secret buried into his skin under the soft cotton of his t-shirt. And he must have left one on his mate, a raised scar to guide him home, to be traced in the middle of the night. And then something occurs to me. a petrifying possibility. It's always reciprocal, right? The bite. The mate thing. If you meet someone and you feel that they are your mate and your biology changes, theirs will change too, right? I don't need a verbal answer because I see in his stoic, forbearing expression that no. Nope. Oh shit. I'm no romantic, but the prospect is appalling. The idea that one might be destined to someone who just won't, can't, doesn't, all the feelings in the world but one-sided, uncomprehended and unbound. A bridge built of chemistry and physics that stops halfway, never to pick up again. The fall would break every last bone. It sounds fucking horrible. He nods thoughtfully. Does it? It's a life sentence. No parole. Just you and a cellmate who'll never know you exist. Maybe, Lowe's shoulders tense and relax. Maybe there is something devastating about the incompleteness of it, but maybe just knowing that the other person is there. His throat bobs. There might be pleasure in that too, the satisfaction of knowing that something beautiful exists. His lips open and close a few times, as though he can only find the right words by shaping them first to himself. Maybe some things transcend reciprocity. Maybe not everything is about having. I let out a disbelieving laugh. Such wisdom from someone whose mating is clearly reciprocated. Yeah, he's amused and something else. No one who has ever dealt with unrequited love would say that. His smile is secretive. Is that how your love has been, unrequited? There has been no love at all. I rest my chin over my knees. It's my turn now to stare at the shimmery lake. I am a vampire. Vampires don't love. Not like that. We definitely don't talk about this stuff. Relationships. Feelings. We're not raised to put a whole lot of value in that. We're taught that what matters is the good of the many. The continuation of the species. The rest comes after. At least, that's how I understood it. I grasp my people's customs very little. Serena would ask me what's normal in vampire society, and I couldn't tell her. When I tried to go back after being the collateral, it was. I flinch. I didn't know how to behave. The way I spoke the tongue was choppy. I didn't get what was going on, you know? Yes, he does. I can tell. Is that why you went back to the humans? It hurt less, I say instead of yes. Feeling alone among people who were never supposed to be my own. He sighs and draws up his knees, hands clasped between them. A thought vibrates through me. Right here, right now, I don't feel particularly alone. You're right, Lowe. I don't have the hardware to understand what a mate is, and I can't imagine meeting someone and feeling the sense of kinship you're talking about. But I close my eyes and think back 15 years. A caregiver knocked on my door and introduced me to a dark-haired girl with dimples and black eyes. The breath I draw is stymied. I was able to install the software because Serena gave it to me. And maybe I disappointed her at times, maybe she was angry at me, but that means nothing in the big picture. I understand that you're willing to face Emery on your own or to sacrifice everything for your pack. I understand because I feel the same about Serena. And for reasons I cannot fully articulate, because feelings are fucking hard for me, I'd like to come with you. To help you find whoever is trying to hurt Anna. And I think that Serena would be proud of me because I've finally managed to care about something. Even just a little bit. He studies me in the moonlit air for far too long. That was a badass speech, Misery. Badass is my middle name. Your middle name is Lynn. Shit, stop reading my file. Never, he inhales, tips back his head, stares at the same stars I've been mapping all night. If we do it, if I take you with me, it will have to be my way, to make sure that you're safe. My heart flutters with hope. What's your way, architecturally, with a Corinthian pilaster? I'm not funny, but neither is he. If you come with me, Misery, you'll have to be marked. Chapter 14. She tastes the way she smells. Expected a 20-hour road trip in the hybrid, parked in Lowe's garage. Or maybe a shorter plane ride in economy class with cotton discreetly stuffed in my nose to avoid being bombarded with the smell of human blood. I did not expect a Cessna. Honey, I ask, lowering my sunglasses to the tip of my nose, are we rich? His glance is only mildly blistering. We're just banned from most human-owned airlines, darling. Oh, right. That's why I've never flown before. It's all coming back to me. It's hard to overstate how little Mick, Cal, and Ken Doll Ludwig like Lowe's decision to take his vampire bride to Emery's home. In the waning light of dusk, they practically throb with tense concern and unspoken objections. Or spoken, maybe. I slept most of the day, and it's entirely possible that while I was stuffed in the closet for my midday coma, they went through several rounds of screaming matches. I'm glad to have missed them, and just as glad that my time awake has been spent organizing tech stuff with Alex. If someone tries to kill Lowe, he told me, showing me a USB rubber ducky, it's your duty to give your life for your alpha. I'm not full-body diving between him and a silver bullet. I held the GSM interceptor against the light to study it. Nifty. Or whatever it takes for you guys to be killed. Just a regular bullet. And if you marry into a pack, the pack's alpha becomes your alpha. You marry an alpha, he most definitely becomes your alpha. Sure. Can I see that microcontroller over there? I'm not sad Alex didn't come see us off at the little executive airport, because the others exude enough existential angst. Tight-lipped, bouncer-posed, frowny. Mick repeatedly shakes his head while holding Sparkles like a burping child. Because, yes, Sparkles is, according to someone who's been scolded multiple times in the past 2 hours for stuffing Play-Doh into outlets, a valued family member who really loves to watch planes go whoosh. Juno is the least opposed to the op, which is nice of her. The real happy camper, however, is Anna, and only because of the promises she extracted from Lowe. Presents, candy, and, in a required logistical effort that far overestimates his abilities, stealing an L from the Hollywood sign. L for Liliana, she whispers at me conspiratorially, because her faith in my alphabet skills is shaky at best. Then she skips away to subject Sparkles to unspeakable cuddly things that have him purring his heart out, but would earn me permanent disfigurement. Let's go, Lowe tells me after bending down to kiss her forehead. I follow him up the steps, waving back at Anna before disappearing inside. It looks less like a one-percenter's luxury jet, and more like a cross between a nice living room and first class on an Amtrak train. Is the pilot were? I ask, following Lowe to the front of the plane. It's not a particularly cramped space, but we're both tall, and it's a tight fit. Yup, he opens the door to the cockpit. Who? I shut up when he lowers himself into the pilot's seat. He presses buttons with quick, practiced movements, puts on a large pair of headphones, and talks to air traffic control in hushed tones. Oh, for fuck's sake. I roll my eyes. I'm tempted to ask when between leading a pack and becoming an architect, he got a small aircraft license. But I suspect he wants me to, and I'm too petty to oblige. Show off, I mutter, bumping my right hip into half a dozen protuberances on my way to the co-pilot chair. His smile is lopsided. Strap in. Like everything else, Lowe makes flying look effortless. Being in a giant metallic bird in the sky should be terrifying, but I press my nose against the cold window and gaze at the night sky, the sprawling lights interrupted by long stretches of desert. I only reemerge when we get permission to land. Misery, he says softly. From up high, the ocean is unmoving. When we land, he starts, then takes a long pause. So long, I pry myself from the cold glass. Ouch! I'm stiff from not moving for hours, so I stretch my neck in the narrow cabin, trying to avoid accidentally pressing an ejector seat button. Everything hurts. When I straighten after arching my spine, the way he's staring at me is too intense to not be judgmental. What? I ask, defensive. Nothing. He turns back to the control board, too fast. You said, when we land. Yeah. You realize that's not a sentence, right? Just a temporal subordinate clause. His eyebrow lifts. You're a linguist now. Just a helpful critic. What happens when we land? He roams the inside of his cheek with his tongue. Are you going to tell me? He nods. I need to send Emery and her people the message that you're part of my pack and no violence against you will be tolerated. Not just the verbal message. You said you'd do that by marking me, right? Whatever that is. The blinking lights in the landing strip are approaching, and the turbulence is making me nauseous. I shift my focus to Lowe. I don't need to speed read architecture for dummies and pretend I can tell Gothic and Art Deco apart. He turns to me, stone-faced. You're joking. Please look ahead. You can, right? You are able to tell apart. Husband, darling, deep inside you know the answer to that, and please look at the road when you're landing a plane. He turns back. It's about sense, he says, clearly forcing himself to change the topic. Of course, what is? He's been a champ. He doesn't seem to react to my scent anymore. Maybe it's all the baths. Maybe he's getting used to me, like Serena when she lived by the fish market. By the time her lease was ending, she found the egginess almost comforting. If we smell the same, it'll send that message. Does it mean you should be smelling like dog breath? I joke. I'm going to do that. His voice is raspy. To do what? Make you smell like. The plane touches down with a graceful bump. Me. My hands tighten around the armrests as we race down the runway. I'm horror-stricken, scenarios of us splattered against the building at the end of the strip blooming in my brain. Little by little, we slow down, and little by little, Lowe's words settle like dust. Like you. He nods, busy with some final maneuvers. I notice a small group of people gathered by the hangar. Emery's welcoming committee, ready to slaughter us. That's fine. Do what you want with my body, I say absently, trying to guess which one of them is more likely to throw a clove of garlic at me. Fair warning, Serena often bitches about how gross and cold I feel. Those 3 degrees make all the difference. Misery. Seriously, I don't care. Do whatever. The maneuvering is over. He unbuckles and assesses the wers waiting for us. There's 5 of them and they look tall. Then again, so am I and so is Lowe. If they attack us. They won't, he interrupts me. Not now. But if they do, I can help. I know, but I can take them on my own. Come on, we don't have much time. He takes me by the wrist, pulling me into the main sitting area, which is larger than the cabin, but too small for the way we're standing in front of each other. I'm going to do whatever. I crane my neck past him to catch a glimpse of the wers through the portholes. Some are actually in wolf form. Misery. Just hurry and. Misery. I jolt back to him at the command in his voice. There's an angry V between his brows. I need your explicit consent. For what? I'm going to send you the traditional way. It entails rubbing my skin against yours. My tongue, too. Oh. Something electric, liquid, pools inside my body. I deal with it the only way I can, by laughing. Seriously. He nods, as serious as quicksand. Like a wet willy. His hand lifts to my neck. Stops. May I touch you? He's asking for permission, but there's nothing insecure or tentative about it. I nod. Wers have sent glands here. He brushes the pad of his thumb against the hollow on the left side of my throat. Here, the right side, and here. His hand wraps around my neck, palm flush against my nape. Your wrists, too. Ah, I clear my throat, and resist the urge to squirm because I'm feeling. I have no idea. It's the way he looks at me. His pale, piercing eyes. This is a fascinating anatomy lecture, but oh shit, the green markings at our wedding. But You don't have scent glands, he says, like I'm more predictable than taxes. But you do have pulse points, where your blood pumps closer to the surface and the heat. Will augment the scent. I'm familiar with the whole blood thing. He nods and holds my eyes expectantly until he understands that I have no clue what he's waiting for. Misery, do I have your permission? I could say no. I know that I could say no, and he'd probably just find another way to protect me, or die trying, because he's that kind of guy. And maybe that's exactly why I nod and close my eyes, thinking that it won't be a big deal. Which I soon realize might not be the case. It starts with heat drifting over me as he shifts closer, the faint, pleasant scent of his blood climbing into my nostrils. After that, his touch. First his hand on my jaw, holding me still, angling my head to the right, and then his nose, I think. nuzzling down the column of my throat, moving back and forth over the place where my blood flows the strongest. He inhales once, again deeper, then travels back up, the scratch of his jaw tickling my flesh. "Okay," he asks in a low rumble. I nod. Yes, it's okay. More than okay, though I wouldn't be able to qualify how or why. An "I'm sorry" stumbles out of my mouth. Sorry, the word vibrates through my skin. Because my knees are buckling, so I lock them. I still feel like I might lose my bearings, so I blindly reach up, find Lowe's shoulder, grasp it for dear life. "I know you don't like my scent." "I fucking love your scent." So the baths did work, oh. When he said tongue, I expected. Not that his lips would part at the base of my throat, and then a soft, drawn-out lick. Because this feels like a kiss. Like Lowe Moreland is kissing my neck slowly, grazing it with his teeth and finishing off with a light nibble. I nearly moan. But at the last moment, I manage to swallow back inside my body the whimpery, throaty sound and... God, why does what he's doing feel so phenomenally good? "Is this as weird for you as it is for me?" I ask, trying to make light of the flutters of pleasure in my stomach. Because this thing's spreading like spilled water below my navel, it's arousal, and it could explode into wildfire very fast. It makes me think of blood and touching and maybe fucking, and as things are happening to my body, I'm terrified that he'll be able to smell them. "Smell me." "No," he growls. "But..." "It's not weird." Lowe lifts his head from my neck. I'm so close to begging him to come back and do it some more, but he's just switching sides, and I almost yelp in relief. This time, his palm cradles the entire back of my head, and for a few moments he thumbs the tip of my ear, exhaling slowly, reverently, like my body is a precious, beautiful thing. "It's perfect," he says, and then his mouth lowers again. First, a delicate bite on my earlobe. Then the swipe of his tongue at the base of my jaw. Last, right as I'm thinking that this is different from what I thought scenting would be, he moves to the bottom of my throat and sucks. He grunts. I gasp. We both let out staggered breaths as my hand creeps up to press his face deeper into me. He pulls gently at my skin, open-mouthed, and the stimulation is like electricity, flooding me with warmth. Wer's body temperature is much higher than Vampire's, and his body is a scant inch of air and possibilities away, and the heat of him. My breasts ache, nipples hard as gems, and I want to arch into him. I want contact and flesh and skin. Lowe is solid, and I feel so soft, and his thundering heartbeat, his delicious beating heart, is a hazy, indescribable wonder pulling me to him. I squirm in his arms, trying to press against him, rub just a little, but no. Because Lowe pulls back. His hand closes on my shoulder, spinning me around until I'm facing away from him. My breath catches as I clasp a headrest for balance. "Okay," he asks, wrapping his fingers around the base of my throat. I say yes as fast as I can, well before the word is fully out of his mouth, and he doesn't waste time either. He lifts away the heavy mass of my hair, clutches my hips in his palm, presses my body against his. And once he has me how he wants me, he bends down. His teeth close around the back of my neck, hard this time, and I am flooded with a filthy, instant kind of pleasure. The cry that I managed to leash earlier burns out of my throat. There's pressure inside me, heady, scalding, and I can't bear for it to grow. Lowe's hand travels down to my stomach, settling me more tightly against him. The curve of my ass finds his groin, and he lets out a satisfied, guttural sound that jolts my nerve endings. My blood sings, my ears roar, I'm melting. "Fuck," he mouths. He runs his tongue over the knob at the top of my spine one last time, as if to soothe the sting of his bite, and suddenly I'm cold. Shivering. When I turn, he's standing several feet away from me, eyes pitch black. The roar in my ears is getting louder, because it wasn't in my ears at all. A car is driving across the tarmac, toward our plane. "Emery." "I'm sorry." Lowe sounds like a rake has run through his vocal box. His fingers twitch at his side, a reflex, like my hand lingering on the damp spot at the base of my throat. My hand shifts to massage my nape. I can still feel his touch. That was... "I'm sorry," he repeats. My fangs ache, itch, want like never before. I trace them with my tongue to ensure they aren't on fire, and Lowe watches me do it, every second of it, lips parting. He takes a small, involuntary step toward me, then retreats again, appalled at his lack of control. This might be new to me, and I may not be aware, but whatever just happened between us went beyond, let me disguise you real quick and straight into something different. Something sexual. And if I know it, there is no way he doesn't. Lowe, we should talk about this, or never mention it again. The way he's looking, he's opting for the latter. I'm done, he says to himself, eyes glassy. It's done. Is it better? His lips press together, as though there is a flavor he wants to hold in his mouth a moment longer. Better. My smell, do I smell like? Mine. It's a rumble in his throat. You smell like you're mine, Misery. Something charged shimmers through my body. It is, after all, exactly what we were going for. Chapter 15. She's not like he imagined. He won't admit to picturing how she'd be while he was growing up, but there was always something in the back of his head, a faint hope that maybe, one day. She's not like he imagined. She's more in every possible way. Emery Messner is petrifying, mostly because she looks really nice. I expected unhinged, rabid-looking, bloodthirsty greetings, unpredictability, threats of violence. What I find is a sweet woman in her 50s, wearing a hope, love, courage pin on her cardigan. I'm no great judge of character, but she seems kind and friendly and sincerely personable. Her heartbeat is faint, almost reticent. I could picture her baking peanut-free treats to pass around after her children's soccer practice, but not abducting and murdering people. Lowe, she stops a few feet away from us, hanging her head in salute. When she looks up, her nostrils twitch, undoubtedly smelling what happened between me and Lowe on the plane. I want to disappear into the ether. Welcome to you and your vampire bride. She faces my husband, who killed her mate. This is so messed up. Congratulations on your alliance. Emery, he does not smile. Thank you for welcoming us to your home. Nonsense. This is your territory, Alpha. She waves a hand like a gal at brunch. Her eyes flicker back to me, and for a fraction of a second the polite facade crumbles, and I see myself reflected in her eyes. I'm a vampire. I'm the enemy. In the current century, my people have been among the top 5 causes of death for her people. I'm as welcome as a piece of gum stuck under the sole of her pumps. However, I'm Lowe's gum, and he's making it abundantly clear. His hand lingers possessively on the curve of my lower back, and I know enough about self-defense to understand that he positioned himself strategically, and that he plans to shove me behind himself at the slightest sign of intimidation. There's no way Emery's guards, all 8 of them, evenly split between wolf and human form, cannot see that. Judging from their tense expressions, they seem to believe that Lowe offers a considerable threat, even this starkly outnumbered. As his fake wife, I find it flattering. But Lowe was right, and Emery doesn't want to fight, at least not now. She forces a strained smile just for me. Misery Lark. Her voice oozes civility. I haven't seen any of your people in my territory in decades. Not alive, for sure. Thank you for having me. Perhaps it's time to bury the hatchet. Perhaps new alliances can be formed, now that the old ones are burning to ashes. Perhaps. I bite the seams unlikely, though off my tongue. Very well. Her eyes flicker to my hand, because I abruptly realize Lowe wrapped his own around it. Follow me, if you please. She turns her back to us with one last smile. Her guard trickles behind her, flanking her like an armor made of flesh. Lowe's fingers squeeze mine. That was civil of you, he says under his breath. Thank you for not causing a diplomatic incident. As if. His eyebrows quirk. Come on, I wouldn't. The look he gives me telegraphs. You absolutely would. I'm not going to piss off the lady who tried to kidnap Anna, I say, outraged. Then clarify, I might stab her, but I'm not going to sass her. His mouth twitches. There you are. He tugs me toward a black sedan, his hand still holding on to mine. Dinner is a weird affair, not in the least because I'm served a plate of cavatelli and a glass of red wine that looks enticingly like blood. It's standard for the mate and children of the former alpha to maintain formal relationships with the current leadership, and several wers have been invited for the weekend. Tonight, though, it's just the three of us at the table, and I'm too clueless regarding wer affairs to participate in the conversation. I try to follow as they talk about borders, alliances, other pacts, but it's like starting a triple timeline TV show from season 4. Too many plot points, characters, world-building details. What I can do is appreciate the complex dynamics at play during the meal and the expert way Lowe navigates them. No one mentions that he killed Roscoe, and I'm grateful for that. We're escorted to our room early in the morning. There is one bed, which will luckily not lead to any weird sharing situation, because I'll disappear into the closet the second the sun is up. I gesture at Lowe to sit and lift a finger to my lips. He gives me a confused look, but complies without argument, even as I reach for his jeans pocket and take out his phone. For an alpha, he's surprisingly good at doing as I say. I spend several minutes sweeping the place for bugs and cameras, and checking for strong Wi-Fi networks under Lowe's increasingly amused gaze. When I find none, I catch his pitiful must-be-hard-to-live subsumed by this level of paranoia look, and I'm tempted to scrape a lint ball from my pocket and tell him that it's state-of-the-art spyware, just to be right for once. He probably wouldn't know better. Can I speak, or would you like to espionage more? I glare. Your golden boy Alex told me to do this. He shakes his head with a small smile. Emery knows better. So we're not going to entertain the possibility that she's going to slit our throats in our sleep. For the time being. I go through his phone to make sure it's not being tracked. It's an interesting, vaguely wistful window into Lowe's life. Not that I expected to find it chock full of MILF porn, but his most visited websites are European sports news and fancy architectural magazines that look as entertaining as a traffic jam. Sorry your baseball team is doing so poorly, I offer. It's doing fine, he mutters, offended. Sure. And it's rugby. He stands to retrieve my blood cooler. Anyway, Emery doesn't seem that bad. No, she doesn't. Lowe opens the cooler, and then the secret compartment where we stowed the tools Alex gave me. Mick has been collecting intel on the attacks and sabotages in wer territory, and it overwhelmingly suggests that she's behind them. But she also knows that if she were to openly challenge me, she wouldn't stand a chance. And it's possible that several of the loyals aren't even aware of the kidnapping attempt. They might not know they're on the bad side of this war. I stand by him, checking that all the equipment is accounted for. Father used to say that there are no good or bad sides in a war. Lowe chews on his lower lip, pensively staring at the bags of blood. Maybe, but there are sides I want to be part of and others that I do not. He looks up, pale eyes just inches from mine. Do you need to feed? I can do it in the bathroom since we're sharing this. I glance around at the flowery wallpaper, canopy bed, landscape-based art, marriage chamber. Why would you use the bathroom? I'm assuming you'll find it gross? Serena always said that there's something repulsive about hearing blood being swallowed, though she eventually got used to it. I get it. I might be a shamefully enthusiastic peanut butter consumer, but I find most human foods gag-worthy. Anything that requires chewing should be launched into space via a self-destroying capsule. I doubt I'll care, Lowe says, and I shrug. I won't babe-proof his environment. He's a big boy who knows what he can take. Okay. I grab the bag and make quick work of it. Blood is too expensive and too hard to clean up to risk spillage, which is why I use straws. The process takes less than 2 minutes, and by the time I'm done, I'm smiling to myself, thinking of the 3-hour dinner I've just been subjected to and feeling superior. Wers and humans are weird. Misery. Lowe's voice is gravelly. I dispose of the bag, and when I glance at him, he's sitting on the bed again. I have the impression that his eyes have been on me for the entire time. Yes. You look different. Oh, yeah. I turn to the mirror, but I know what he's seeing. Rosy cheeks, blown-up pupils with a thin lilac rim, lips stained with red. It's a thing. A thing. Heat and blood, you know. I don't. I shrug. We get blood hungry when we're hot, and we get hot after we feed. It won't last long. He clears his throat. What else does it entail? I'm not sure what to make of this line of questioning on vampire physiology, but he was forthcoming when I asked the same about the Wers. Mostly just that. Some senses are heightened, too. The scent of Lowe's blood, but also everything else that makes him him, is sharper in my nostrils. It has me wondering if I still smell like him. Which has me thinking of what happened earlier. Not that it was ever far from my mind. In the plane, when you were marking me, I expect him to act embarrassed or dismissive. He just holds my gaze. Not to make a weird situation even weirder, but it seemed like it was. It was. He briefly closes his eyes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take advantage. I mean neither. I was as much into it as he was, more probably. It's the act of it. It's something that usually happens between mates or in serious romantic relationships. It's intrinsically sexually charged. Oh, right. I'm a bit mortified to have assumed he was attracted to me. Not because I don't think I'm attractive. I'm hot, and fuck you, Mr. Lumiere, for saying that I looked like a spider. But because Lowe has gabai. Someone he's biologically hardwired to focus the entirety of his attraction on. I'd never done it before, he says. I didn't know it would be like that. Hold up. You'd never done it. You'd never marked anyone before. He shakes his head and starts taking off his boots. But you have a mate. You said so. He moves to the other shoe, without looking up. I also said it's not always reciprocated. But yours is, right? You said so, Gabrielle. She's the collateral now, but before they were together. They probably met in Zurich. Ate that cheese with the holes together all the time. Did I? I cover my mouth with my palm. Shit, no. I stalk across the room to the bed, but once I'm sitting next to Lowe, I have no idea what to do. What did the governor say at the wedding? That the were collateral was his mate. But he never said that they were together. As a matter of fact, no one in the pack ever acted as though Lowe was in a relationship with her. Anna never mentioned Gabai, not even in passing. There were no signs of her in Lowe's bedroom. His mate, the governor said, and it makes sense that Lowe would share that, to guarantee that he was handing off a valuable collateral. But no one ever said that Lowe was her mate. Does she know? That she's your mate, I mean. A micro pause, and then he shakes his head, as though reaffirming a decision. She doesn't, and she won't. Why won't you tell her? I won't burden her with the knowledge. Burden, she'd be into that. You're basically swearing eternal love to her, and you're kind of a catch. I used to vet all of Serena's dating app matches. I've seen what's out there. The pool is shallow. As far as I know, you have 0 criminal convictions, a house, a car, a pack, and, okay, a wife, but I'm happy to help you clear that out. I wonder why I'm being so proactive about this. I'm not the kind to want to meddle with other people's love lives, but maybe it has to do with this heavy feeling deep in my stomach. Maybe I'm just overcompensating my irrational disappointment with enthusiasm. Honestly, she'll be stoked. She's the current collateral. She's probably as perfectly self-immolating as he is, and something occurs to me. Is it about your sister? You think she won't accept Anna? He exhales a laugh and goes to put his shoes away. The opposite. Anna would be delighted too. He checks that the door is locked and comes back to bed. Scooch over, he orders, pointing at the side of the bed that's farthest from the entrance. I obey without hesitating. What if she feels the same about you? She can't. The mattress dips with his weight. He lies back, still wearing his jeans and shirt. The back of his head sinks into the pillow as he crosses his arms on his chest. The bed is king size and still a little too short for him, but he doesn't complain. Maybe she doesn't have the hardware. Maybe she doesn't feel the same biological pull toward you that you feel toward her, but she could still develop feelings. I tow my shoes off and kneel next to him. Is he going to sleep? You could still date her. We're still talking about this, he drawls without opening his eyes. Yes. What about now? Yup. No, I'm not going to examine my interest in the topic. Frankly, it's a bit childish, this all-or-nothing attitude of yours. You could still have a... He props up on his elbow. One second I'm staring at his handsome, relaxed face. The next his eyes burn bright into mine and I can feel his breath, warm over my lips. They still taste faintly like blood. Something charges between us, something ready. You think that the reason I won't tell her is that a small part of her wouldn't be enough, he growls. You think that I would care if she were to love me less than I love her, that this is a matter of pride for me, of greed. Is that why you think I'm childish? I open my mouth. A wave of heat, embarrassment, confusion, something else, slams over my body. You think, but you don't know. You don't know anything about what it's like to find your other half, he continues, voice low and sharp. I would take anything she chose to give me, the tiniest fraction or her entire world. I would take her for a single night knowing that I'll lose her by morning, and I would hold on to her and never let go. I would take her healthy or sick or tired or angry or strong, and it would be my fucking privilege. I would take her problems, her gifts, her moods, her passions, her jokes, her body. I would take every last thing if she chose to give it to me. My heart pounds in my chest, my cheeks, my fingertips. I've forgotten how to breathe. But I won't take from her. His eyes leave mine and steadily trail down my face. They stop at the neckline of my dress. Tonight I'm wearing our wedding band as a necklace, and he studies the way it disappears into the curve of my breasts. His gaze lingers leisurely for what feels like hours but is probably a brief moment. Then it moves back up. Above all, I won't take her freedom, not when so many others have already done so. That aggressive energy between us dissipates as quickly as it formed, melting like salt in water. Slowly, comfortably with one last glance at my lips, Lowe settles back on the bed. His arms come up to lace behind his skull. She wouldn't admit it. She might not even realize it herself, but she's the kind of person who would feel beholden to me. She would think I need her, when what I really need is for her to be happy, whether it's with me, or alone, or with someone else. His eyes flutter closed again. I manage to gulp in some air, and I watch his body relax from a tense, angry line back to soft strength. I'm utterly ashamed, and other things that I'm unlikely to be able to articulate. My hands are trembling, so I curl my fists into the cotton coverlet. I'm sorry, I went too far. My feelings are mine to deal with, not hers. I cannot help myself. I lick my lips and say, it's just misery. It's that tone again, the alpha one, the one that makes me want to say yes to him over and over again. I'm sorry, I repeat, but I think I'm forgiven. I think Lowe is simply too big a person to hold grudges. I think Lowe is too fucking principled for his own good and doesn't deserve to have his heart broken or his life only half full. Shall I retreat into the closet in shame so you don't have to see me? His mouth twitches, definitely forgiven. I can just turn the other way. Right, will you have to? Sent me again, tomorrow. His smile disappears. No, the message came across. They think you're important to me now. Okay, I scratch my temple and do not ruminate over the fact that he said they think instead of they know. I should get ready for bed. The sun will be up soon, but it's such a rare opportunity to study Lowe at will. He's just so handsome, even to me, someone who's so different, so chronically weird, that I'm rarely afforded the privilege of noticing these things in others. And yet, the more I know him, the more I find him magnetic, unique, genuinely decent in a world where no one seems to be. And I'm convinced that his mate would agree with me, but I'm not going to belabor the point. Even if I can't imagine anyone refusing him, even if I have developed an attraction toward him, and I'm not even his species. You can get changed before sleeping. I'm going to keep my hands off you, even if your PJs have cute little drops of blood on them. I'm not going to sleep, he murmurs. I frown. Is it a worth thing? You only sleep every third day. It's a me thing. I tear my eyes away from his full lips. Right, the insomnia. When we were teens, Serena was the same. Yeah. He hasn't moved a muscle, but he sounds genuinely interested, so I continue. She had horrible nightmares she could never remember. Probably something that happened in the first few years of her life. She had no memories of that period at all. And what would she do? She wouldn't sleep, would always look exhausted. We were concerned, me and Mrs. Michaels, who was our caregiver at the time and a nice one at that. We tried white noise machines, pills, those red lights that should have facilitated melatonin production but just made the room look like a brothel. Nothing worked. And then we found the solution by chance, and it was the simplest trick. What was it? Me, Lowe's body tightens. What she needed was someone she trusted next to her, so I'd hang out in her room and scratch her. Scratch her, he sounds skeptical. No, yes, but not what you think. It's just what we called it. Here. I lift my hand to his forehead, and after a small hesitation, I press my palm to his hair. It's at once bristly and soft, not long enough to run my fingers through. I caress it a couple of times, letting my nails brush softly against his scalp, just enough to give him an idea of what Serena used to enjoy, and then pull back to. His hands dart up, lightning fast. He doesn't open his eyes, but his fingers close around my wrist with deadly precision. My heart slams into my chest. Shit, I've overstepped. Until he brings the hand back to his head, as though he wants me to. Oh. He doesn't let go until I resume the scratching. A ball of something swells in my throat. You're so much luckier, I say, hoping a joke will deflate it. Why, he rasps. I just fed. It reduces the clammy, mollusk feel Serena had to deal with. He doesn't smile, but his amusement is thick around us. His dark hair is short, so short, and I wonder if he cuts it like that because the upkeep is easier. No need to style it ever. I think about how much research I put into the best cuts to hide my ears, about the way Serena enjoyed shopping for clothes and makeup that suited her moods. And then imagine Lowe having no time to do any of that, having no time for himself. Like Juno said, his entire life is sacrifice. He was asked for so much and always said yes, yes, yes. Oh, Lowe, no wonder you can't sleep. You're not as terrible a husband as you could be, I say for no particular reason, continuing to caress him. I'm sorry you had to give up your entire life for your pack. This time he's definitely smiling. You did the same. What? I tilt my head. No. You spent years among the humans, knowing that if a very flimsy truce was broken, you'd be the first to be killed. Then you spent more years building a life among the humans, and now here you are, having given that up. Doing stuff for your people, whom you claim to care so little about. Not for them, for Serena. Yeah, then what's your plan after you find her? Run away together. Disappear. Send the alliance between the vampires and we're into chaos. It's not that I haven't thought that far. I just don't like to dwell on the answer. This marriage is just for 1 year, I punt. Yeah, Misery, I think you should ask yourself something. He sounds more tired than I've ever heard him. What is that? If Serena hadn't disappeared, would you have been able to say no to your father? Or would you have ended up in this marriage anyway? I think about it for a long, long time, watching my fingers trace patterns in Lowe's hair. And when I think I have an answer, a frustrating, depressing answer, I don't say it out loud. Because Lowe, who suffers from something that's definitely not pneumonia, is breathing softly and has sunk into a tranquil sleep. Chapter 16. He's been picturing her during her baths. He's been having filthy, unspeakable thoughts. He's too tired to keep them at bay. The following day, Lowe disappears to do worse things. I wake up in the late afternoon with only vague memories of having crawled into the built-in closet and find a note tucked under the doors. It's a piece of white paper, folded once and then again. On a run, it says. And on a new line, be good. Followed by Lowe Moreland. I snort. For unclear reasons, I don't toss it in the trash bin, but slip it in the external pocket of my suitcase. I draw a bath and lower myself into the tepid water. Holding on to garbage is dumb, but I come by it honestly. It's what Serena used to do with wrappers of rare import candy bars. A maniac-worthy move, in my humble opinion, the way she'd pin them to the wall. A surefire method to spot a future serial murderer, together with pyromania and torturing small animals. When I look at the wrappers, I remember the taste. She told me when we were 13 and I tried to throw them away. It led to me rolling my eyes, which led to us not talking for 2 days. which led to me passive-aggressively littering our shared spaces with used blood bags, which led to flies, which led to an explosive showdown in which she couldn't decide whether to call me a leech or a bitch and blurted out, bleach, which led to us cracking up and remembering that we liked each other. Misery, Lowe's voice pulls me back. I'm staring vacantly at the stained windows, a faint smile on my lips. Where are you? Bathroom. Are you dressed? I look down and shift the foam around strategically. Yup. The door opens a moment later. Lowe and I regard each other from across the room, him blinking, me staring, with similarly dumbfounded expressions. He clears his throat twice, then remembers that looking away is an option. You said you were dressed. I'm wearing my modesty froth. You, on the other hand. He frowns. I'm wearing jeans. Plus a healthy layer of sweat and nothing else. The curtains are pulled but sheer. The incoming light is warm and tints Lowe's skin a pretty gold, his wide shoulders, his broad, heavily muscled chest. He's still glowing with the flush of being outside, in nature, and he looks healthy, even with more scars than anyone his age should have, narrow, thin stripes and knotty twists. So I like looking at my husband who's a different species and fated to be someone else's mate. Whatever. Take me to court. Impound my non-existent assets. I'll overlook your nudity if you overlook mine, I offer. Lowe's hand comes up to rub his nape. I took off my shirt before shifting and lost it. Let me find a clean one. I don't care, plus you're sweaty and gross. His eyebrow cocks. Gross. I shrug, which maybe misplaces the foam. I'm not sure, nor am I going to check, as the answer could be mortifying. So, you went frolicking in the mud with Emery. He snorts. With Cone. He arrived early this morning. That sounds fun. He got to hang out for a couple of hours with someone he clearly loves and trusts. Let his guard down. It was. It must be why his eyes are dancing, at once boyish and animated. Why he seems younger than last night. Why, when he walks inside and sits by my feet on the edge of the tub, he looks like he's been smiling. You know, I muse, relaxing into the water, I think I want to see you. He looks down at his body. You want to see me? No, not naked. His head tilts in confusion. As a wolf. His eyes soft and amused. Can you quickly shift? Right now. But keep your distance, please. Animals tend to hate me. Nope. Why? I sit upright, covering my breasts with my arms. Oh my God, does it hurt shifting? No, he seems offended. Phew, how long does it take? Depends. How long does it take for you, on average? A few seconds. Is it another alpha thing, and your motor proteins are super dominant? His glare tells me I'm on the right track. Shifting is not a party trick, Misery. Clearly it's not a super secret deal either, because I've seen Cal as I gasp. I got it. Got what? I smile, fangs out. You don't want to show me because your wolfy coat is hot pink. Not wolfy coat, just coat. I splash him with my foot. Is it purple? He flinches and screws his eyes shut. Is it glittery? I splash some more. You have to tell me if it's glittery. His fingers close around my ankle, vice tight. You done? He wipes his eyes with the back of his free hand, and it comes away wet. My calf is pale against Lowe's skin, slick with water and soap suds. When his grip slips, he turns his wrist to adjust it, and it transitions into something that's more in the realm of a caress. Okay. So, we've been touching a lot since yesterday. We are touching a lot. About tonight, he starts. New topic, but his hand stays firmly in place. I talked to Cone. He'll buy us some time, distract Emery. How? We'll see. Cone's a creative thinker. Does he know what we're planning? Not yet. He lowers my trapped foot under the water but doesn't let go of my ankle, as though he doesn't trust me to behave, or as though he doesn't want to. He might suspect, but he knows better than to ask. Plausible deniability. Wise. Hey, why is Cone here? Emery is his mother's sister. His aunt. Correct. She was originally in the Northwest Pack, then moved when she met Roscoe. That's why I was sent to him. Wow, and he's still going to help you. He is no fan of Roscoe, or his own family. So relatable. After dinner, then. You're going to say you need to feed. And you'll come with me because you're my worried and possessively protective alpha husband, and I have terrible orientation skills. All we need to do is get to the office, plant the devices, and get out. I bite into my lower lip. I could also do it on my own. I'm not sending you out there on your own. I think I'm not positive because of the water and the foam and the sheer improbability of it, but I think Lowe might be brushing his fingertips against the arch of my soul. A tactile hallucination. You're a vampire. If Emery's guards find you, they'll attack first, ask questions later. He presses his lips together. Stick close, okay? I can fight, I say, to give him an out, to avoid thinking about what's going on underwater. I don't care. I'm not taking the chance, not with you. I'm not sure whether to be flattered or indignant, so I opt for a flat okay. He nods and finally lets go of me. I watch the play of his shoulder blades as he walks away and savor the glow his skin left on mine for a long time after he's gone. Cone is an asshole in the most delicious and entertaining of ways. He seems to have distinct preferences, strong opinions, and little interest in keeping either to himself. Let's all thank Lowe for the opportunity to not have to tune out one of Roscoe's deranged rants tonight, he proclaims loudly while taking a seat at the dinner table. I nearly choke on my spit, but no one else appears concerned that a brawl might be on the verge of erupting, not even Emery. I'm relieved that he doesn't hate me. The opposite, actually. When we meet, he clasps my shoulder and pulls me in for a bear hug that has me wondering whether he's aware that I'm a vampire, or that Lowe and I are not actually married. He must be around 10 years older than us, somewhere between a big brother and a father figure for Lowe. But before dinner, when I watched them talk, two tall men wearing identical button-downs and exchanging hushed, comfortable words, the mutual affection and respect was obvious. And yet they're as different as night and day. Lowe might be aloof at times, but there is something fundamentally kind about him, selfless and patient. Cone is brash, cocksure, a little vicious. He's indeed no fan of Emery S. and willing to declare it as forcefully as possible. Other guests are more relatives, and a few former seconds of Roscoe S. who decided to stay neutral during the change in leadership. Most seem to have realized that Lowe is their best bet, or maybe they're simply beguiled by whatever his alpha magic is, and act deferentially. But one of them, John, is wearing a necklace with a vial of something purple that looks a lot like vampire blood. Lowe stares at him for a long time when he notices, long enough that I'm certain a fight will break out, and I find myself reaching for one of the meat knives, just in case. After a beat, John lowers his eyes, a show of submissiveness if I've ever seen one, and the tension in the room seems to deflate. When I next see him, the necklace is gone. The topic of new alliances with the vampires and the humans comes up at the table, and the only person to bring up objections is Emery. I hear you and that new human governor-elect have been meeting, she tells Lowe. Maddie Garcia, yes. Do you really mean to establish an alliance with? It's done, he says, eyes holding hers. There are details to iron out, but the Wers and the humans are going to be allies as soon as her term begins. Emery composes herself. Of course, but is it not offensive to the memory of the Wers who fought and died in the wars against the other species? She asks, with the tone of someone who's merely asking an innocent question. Amanda, a young woman who came with Cone and is sitting across from me, theatrically rolls her dark eyes. When she smiles at me, I smile back. That's not my intention, but if it were, it still seems preferable to more of my pack dying. Lowe stresses the word my, a not-so-subtle reminder. I understand the push for a ceasefire, I suppose. Her eyes flicker to me. Are you not worried about what this might mean for your pack, Cone? The humans border your territory. No, Cone takes a bite of his steak. He and Lowe bickered like an old married couple over who'd get to eat mine, so I decided to give it to Amanda. Look, Serena, I'm making friends. Not all of us live to stir up shit with other species, Emery. Indeed, some of you even have vampire spouses. Her tone is chilly. Here I was, thinking she approved of our love. Some of us are lucky, Lowe says, sincere sounding, like our marriage is one of his proudest accomplishments, the culmination of years of deeply harbored love. Good actor. Do you need to feed? He asks, turning to me, voice instantly more intimate, and yep. Great actor, great timing. Please. I smile adoringly at my nurturing partner, pretending not to notice the gagging looks around us. He holds my eyes and murmurs, "Let's go then." We step out of the dining room just as Cone calls John a fuckwaffle. Does he like to make enemies, start fights, watch the world burn? Cone's big on. Lowe searches for the right words. Unfiltered honesty. No shit. Who did he challenge? To become alpha, I mean. No one. His mother was alpha before him. When she passed, Cone just ascended. How delightfully monarchic, and the pack was just okay with it. Not all of them. And his hand presses on my lower back, wordlessly asking me to take a right. There were challengers. And he's been alpha for well over a decade, has he not? True. Are he and Amanda doing it? She's his second. Well, are they? A brief pause. Traditionally, the alpha of the Northwest Pack takes a vow of celibacy. Oh God, did you? Lowe shakes his head. Feels like it, though, he murmurs, just as we reach the office. I immediately unhook a pin from my nape and drop on my knees in front of the lock, letting my dress bunch up my thighs. A few seconds later, I open the door with a butler-like flourish. What? I whisper, noticing the upturned corner of Lowe's mouth. He slips in first, scans the room, then gestures me inside. Just picturing you doing the same. He closes the door behind him and turns on the light. I see a fireplace so large it could comfortably sleep a mid-sized family, and a suspicious amount of antlered wall decor. To break into my room. Right, I flinch. About that, I am sorry that. You went through my underwear. Yeah, that. He points at the computer on the desk with a small smile, and I dart there, giving the antlers a wide berth, glad to have something else to focus on. I'll hide your scent, but make sure you touch as little as possible, he reminds me. We don't have much time, so I nod and hurry. Lowe already bugged several spots in the house, but what I'm doing will allow us to track and rifle through any communication from all of Emery's devices. And since she doesn't have an Alex, she'll never realize. Need anything from me? Lowe asks while I slip into the network, voice pitched low. I nod between keystrokes. Set up the Ubertooth and hand me the land turtle. I snort at his wide-eyed I didn't know the S was due today and my dog ate it anyway expression. I was kidding, just keep guard. Thank fuck. His relief could jumpstart a truck's battery. How long do you need? 6 minutes tops, too long. No, I doubt they know how little time it takes you to feed. I beam up at him. Why, thank you. Was that a compliment? His head tilts in confusion. Wasn't it? Not intentionally. Weren't you trying to say how low maintenance I am? No. Bummer. I bend my head and quickly type the code. Well, I rescind my warm acceptance of your non-compliment. If you think that's what it was, you need better ones. Better what? Compliments. I look up once more. He's staring, his eyes halfway between unreadable and indecipherable. What do you mean? You need to be told the right things. He shrugs casually, but the movement feels the opposite of casual. That you're intelligent and incredibly skilled at what you do and brave. That despite your weird belief that you're heartless, you're more genuinely caring than anyone I've ever met. That you're so resilient I can't quite wrap my head around it. That you're very... He pauses, wets his lips. My heartbeat skips. Very beautiful to look at, always so beautiful, and that. He pauses abruptly, lifting his palm. His shoulders tense, shifting to acute vigilance. Someone is coming, he whispers. Emery, I mouth. I can't make out any noises, but we're hearing is better than mine. Lowe shakes his head, and 2 seconds later I hear them, too. Voices. 2 voices, 2 men coming down the stairs. "Emery's guards," he says, barely audible. The possibility of being caught freezes me. Then the image of Anna pops into my head, the way Emery tried to take her, how terribly she might have hurt her, and fear, real fear, drives through me like a spear. We can't go back home empty-handed. "Don't," I whisper when Lowe is about to turn off the computer. The steps sound terrifyingly closer. It just needs a couple more minutes. If they come in and find us. They won't. I turn off the monitor, and we'll. I have an idea, but it's easier shown than explained, so I grasp Lowe's hand and tug him closer, walking backward until I hit one of the square columns on the sides of the fireplace. The cliché almost makes my teeth hurt, and if Emery's guards are media literate even just at a 3rd grade level, they're not going to fall for it. But it might buy us a couple of minutes, and that's all that matters. "Kiss me," I order, pulling him farther into me. He needs to be inside my space, towering over me. "What?" Lowe's brow is one deep furrow. "Let's just pretend we're newly married and I don't know, horny and ended up in a random office. Maybe we're kinky, maybe we're idiots, maybe we're pathetic. Shit, the guards are never gonna fall for it, and they're coming." "They think you're feeding," Lowe hisses from above me. If I could devote any brain cells to not panicking, I would roll my eyes. "I know, but since we're here, and they are basically here." "Feed from me." He looks dead serious. "What?" "Pretend that's what we came here for." "No, it's actually a pretty good idea. A really good idea, even. Still doesn't explain why we're in here. We could say we got lost and it was the first unlocked door we found." "Okay," I nod. The steps are getting closer. "Tilt your neck, I'll pretend I'm drinking from your vein." "Misery," his eyes drill into mine. "You have to bite me." "Why?" "They're worse. They're going to be able to smell it if you're not really drinking." "What's what? I've never." "Misery," Lowe orders. Or maybe it's a plea, or maybe my name is just a word he likes to say, a word he likes to think of. A second later, my fangs sink into the vein at the base of his neck. 2 seconds later, the door to the office opens. Chapter 17. The past year notwithstanding, he was always comfortable with sex and everything that came with it. He knew what he liked, and he knew how to get it. He was content. Now he can't remember what satisfaction felt like. It's surprising how smoothly it all goes, especially considering how new we both are at this. There's Lowe, who cannot possibly have a clue of what to expect. There's me, a notoriously bad vampire. And then there are some very shitty circumstances, like how mauled we're about to get. And yet, even without knowing what to do, I know exactly what to do. I know to draw the tip of my nose across the base of his throat to find the perfect spot. I know to stop where his blood smells the sweetest and his skin forms the thinnest veil. I know to press my lips to his flesh in a brief, indulgent moment of silent gratitude. Above all, I know without any trace of doubt or hesitation or fear to bite. My canines might be unused, but they are plenty sharp, guided by instinct if not experience. And after a brief, suspended moment of screaming disorientation, Lowe's blood fills my mouth. It's unlike anything I've ever tasted. And not because I've only ever fed from chilly, refrigerated bags, and in comparison, this feels scorching as fire. I think it has to do with the fact that this is Lowe. And his blood tastes like blood, yes, but it's also spicy, coppery, a thrill on the back of my tongue. His blood tastes like his scent and his smiles and his hands lingering on my skin. Like the serious way he stares into the distance and rubs his jaw when he's worrying about Anna. His blood is everything that he is, and I'm drinking of it. It's the most delicious, the most earth-shattering, the most inside-out moment of my entire life. And then the first few drops hit my stomach, and everything changes. Mere feet from us, things are happening. I hear them distantly, dreamily, gasps, a frantic, hushed conversation that includes words like Lowe and wife and feeding, a rushed, panicked apology, a door slamming closed. But all I can think of is misery, Lowe grunts. Warmth, I'm feverishly, beautifully warm. and empty, and bursting, and dizzy, liquefying, and I feel like I need. I need more. I need Lowe to be closer. Misery, he breathes. I don't know when, but my hands have hiked up to his shoulders. I moan into his neck, unable to stop myself. I want to climb under his skin. I want him to slide under mine. I want to give him every last thing he asks for. Fuck! His breath is shallow against my temple. I think he gets it, though, because he does exactly what I'm unable to beg for. His hand travels down my spine to cup my ass, and he holds me to himself while my legs wrap around him. My breasts are achy and tender, my core throbs, and there's an alarm in my head telling me that I should stop, that I'm drinking too much. It's killed into silence the moment Lowe winds his fingers into the thick hair at my nape and orders. Take more. I moan a blissful hum into his skin. Something wet and eager bursts inside me, spills into my stomach. Misery, misery. He scoops my head deeper into his neck, bucks against me in a way that feels not wholly voluntary. Take all you need. I cling to him like I'd die if he let go, desperate for friction. My hips grind against his abs, seeking relief, and when the contact feels good, I need more. More blood, more Lowe, more of the stretching, rocking, taut feeling coasting inside me. I'm going to fuck. His voice is a thick, urgent rumble against my ear. Misery, let me. A stifled, filthy sound comes out of his throat. He's rock hard, and when he lifts me higher, fingertips pressed into my ass, trying to thrust against the perfect spot in me, I almost lose contact with his vein. Almost. I let out a plaintive, needy whimper, even as I writhe against his cock. I know, he murmurs, soothing, commanding. I know, be good, I'm going to. The first twitches of pleasure hit me so hard, so sudden, I cannot process them. My back arches, my shoulders shake, my core spasms, and for a long second I'm just there, stretched, untethered, until something clicks and my orgasm explodes inside me, leaving me without breath. The pleasure is sharp, loud, all-consumingly bright. It bursts to everything, and then it doubles, and then it swells again until everything else is gone, and I come and come and come, sinking into its tide for seconds, minutes, centuries. Then, slowly, it shrinks to aftershocks pulsing through my body and licking down my spine. I'm glad Lowe is pinning me to the fireplace because I've lost control of my limbs. My breath is stymied, and I pant into his still-open vein. I'm his vein, his precious, beautiful vein. I'm not capable of rational thought at the moment, but I lean forward and suck at the wounds I opened, then lick at them like a kitten, rescuing every last green drop. It's an automatism, something written in my genes, and Lowe seems to enjoy it too. Intense satisfaction radiates from him. His big hands clutch at my hips. Soft, pleased praises are muttered against my cheekbones. The blood stops seeping through, his skin sealing shut. I pull back feeling supremely smug, brimming with pride for a job well done. I'm full, satiated, happy. I'm strong and warm all over, comfortable in a way I haven't really experienced before, and it's all thanks to Lowe and his powerful blood, the way his heavy breath rolls against my skin. Oh, God. Lowe. I push against his shoulders, and he doesn't immediately react. Let go of me. It's all it takes. He gently lowers me until my feet are on the ground, then tries to take a step back, but I can't let him. I cling to his shirt, following his retreat. Misery. I'm physically unable to give him up. Misery. His hoarse voice jerks me out of my trance-like state. I put some air between us, which feels like a supremely bad idea, cold and invasive and all wrong. My hair is wild and the fabric of my dress caught at my waist, but I'm too busy staring at Lowe to do anything about it. His pupils have swallowed the irises. They travel down my legs, mesmerized. With the distance, the awareness of what just happened slowly trickles into me, then drowns me like a water flood. Shit, it's not that I fed from him, even though I did, but also, I had no clue that. I am so sorry, I gasp out, straightening my clothes. He shakes his head, chest heaving rhythmically up and down. His eyes are different, not his anymore. I'd never, from someone, I had no idea it would be, did I hurt you? There's something raptorial about the way he shakes his head. Slow, careful, I take a step back, feeling like I'm being tracked by a much stronger, faster predator. Okay, I lick the corner of my lip. This aftertaste in my mouth is his blood, and there is something deliciously erotic about it. He is alive, breathing in front of me, warm and strong. This living being, this man, this were, produced plasma and green blood cells and chose to provide me with them. Life and sustenance. It's so intimate, sexual, but more than that. Not something I could imagine sharing with just anyone, except for Lowe, of course. I look down at my crumpled dress, feeling like a child who just found out that she didn't really come from the cabbage patch. Misery. I peel my eyes from my feet. Lowe looks disheveled, a little shell-shocked, confused, obviously horny. He strokes his erection once over the tented fabric of his pants, staring at my face in that spellbound way. Are you okay? I don't know. I lick my lips, finding more traces of him. I don't think so. That's when I hear the steps and remember why I was sucking on his blood a second ago. They're coming, I hiss, hurrying to the computer to disconnect the hardware. In the first lucky break of the evening, the code is done. I unplug everything, making sure to leave nothing behind. Lowe is still standing still, following my every gesture like a wolf about to pounce on a rabbit. When my fingers disappear into my cleavage to hide the USB, his breath hitches. Lowe, you know someone's coming, right? Yeah, he says simply, and for a moment I think he might be broken. Then I realize, what should we even do? Run. We've already been caught. Now it's all about committing to the show. Are you okay? I ask, because I didn't think to before. He murmurs, come back, a hand outstretched in my direction. I don't think he's okay, but neither am I, so I cross the room. He hugs me, both arms enveloping my shoulders, my head nestled under his chin. It's not like before, not in that sexual, feverish way that's all about heat and shared skin and contact. This hug is all about closeness, and Lowe burying his nose in my hair, and my heartbeat seeking his. We should probably discuss what to do when the next person barges in, come up with an action plan, but all I want is to be here. Cling to him. I could fuck you very nicely right now, he says into my ear. He sounds honest and a bit resigned. I almost did. I'm sorry. I never imagined it would lead to. I know, I'm just really. His lips move against my forehead, soft and warm. I've never felt like this. Like what? Turned on, smitten and other things. I feel the exact same. I'm sorry, I repeat. It must be I'm going to talk to my brother. It might be something I've done. It's not, it's just right. Lowe's stubble drags against my temple. Have you had enough? Enough. Blood. Oh, yes. But I'd like more. But may I have more? I want it, so bad. I'm about to say fuck it and ask for it assertively, like a big girl, when the door opens again. This time, Lowe and I manage to break apart. He steps protectively in front of me, the tenderness between us dissolving. I thought my guards were having hallucinations, Emery says, eyeing us suspiciously. I must have forgotten to lock this room. Her gaze lingers on Lowe's neck, woundless but faintly bluish-green, as if someone latched onto it and didn't let go for a long while. When you mentioned feeding, Lowe, I assumed. Her lips twist into something that resembles disgust. You should never assume that is. Lowe's voice is cutting. And then Cone appears behind Emery, leaning against the door jamb with a shit-eating grin. I, for one, am glad the kids are having fun. Yeah, well, when you're done, please come back to the table. We're waiting for you for dessert. Aunt Emery, they already had dessert. Emery makes a revulsed face and brushes past Cone. Lowe doesn't relax even when she's gone. His broad shoulders remain tense, gaze fixed on Cone as if he were a threat, someone I should be shielded from, instead of Lowe's most trusted and valuable ally. Which, going by his amused smile, Cone knows. And to think that you're the most sensible were I've ever met. Look how finding her made you, he says cryptically. He gives Lowe a fond glance, and then his expression shifts. I got a phone call. Cal tried to reach you with something important but wasn't able to. It's urgent. I left my phone back in my room. Cone's eyebrow lifts. Yeah, not sure it would have made a difference if it had been in your pocket. Lowe rolls his eyes but eases up a fraction. What's going on? He mentioned the possibility of you heading home tonight instead of tomorrow morning. Something about Anna, I think. Chapter 18. Her presence soothes him more than a full moon run. It's to use the time on the plane to make sure that the tracker is in place and working remotely. But the Wi-Fi signal is too spotty, and I end up tossing my Raspberry Pi to the side with an angry grunt. Lowe and I don't exchange more than a couple of perfunctory words on the flight. He pilots in a focused, self-assured way, his thoughts clearly full of concern for Anna. My heart aches for him. It started when you left, Mick explains grimly when he picks us up. I know, he immediately adds when he sees Lowe's expression. I should have told you, but it was a low fever. I assumed she'd eaten something funny. But then she started shivering and said that her bones hurt, and started to vomit. Lowe, whose alpha nature manifests through having to drive every single means of transport he boards, pulls up to the house. Can she keep liquids down? Not much. Juno's upstairs with her. He looks about 5 years older than when we left. And so do Juno and Cal, who are pacing outside of Lowe's room, where Anna chose to make her sickbed. I wonder if her brother's smell is thicker in there, reassuring her that everything is going to be all right. I have no doubt Lowe is terrified, but he never shows it. Even earlier tonight, when we were about to be discovered, he never panicked. Maybe it's an alpha trait, the making of a good leader, the ability to backburner emotions and focus on what needs to be done. I think Father would agree. Is this being sick? Is it not something that happens to Fulwers? I ask. Cal and Mick seem taken aback. Juno just asks Lowe calmly, You told her about Anna? And seems unsurprised when he nods. We're not really susceptible to viruses, she explains to me, or bacteria or whatever this is. There are select poisons that affect us, but not this way. It occurs to me that because of Anna's physiology, a word doctor would be useless. And because of Anna's physiology, a human doctor would put her at risk of being discovered. Is it the first time this has happened? Lowe nods. She's had a runny nose and some sneezing in the past. We passed them off as allergies. We still have that Tyler medicine, Cal offers. The one we got months ago. Tylenol, I ask. He gives me an admiring look. How do you know? I smile. Just guessing. That might help with the fever and the pain, but... I shrug, and while the others try to decide how to proceed, I go check on Anna directly. She looks small and fragile in the middle of Lowe's king bed, and her forehead burns under my hand. I'm convinced she's asleep, but her "can you keep it there?" when I'm about to leave tells me otherwise. You feel so cool. Who do you think I am? For her pleasure, I produce a deep frown. Your personal ice pack. Her giggle squeezes my chest. How do you feel? I ask. Like I'm about to puke on you. Could you please puke on Sparkles first? She gives it a long thought before formally declaring, As you wish. Lowe joins us a few minutes later. He presses his lips to Anna's temple and gives her what he announces to be the first of her California presents, a large pink giraffe that I cannot figure out where or when he acquired. Were there giraffes in California? Not in the wild, love. She purses her lips. I'd like a more authentic present next time. Noted. Lowe. Yes. I miss Mama. Lowe's eyes briefly flutter shut, like he can't bear to keep them open. I know, love. Why does Misha get to have 2 parents and I get none? It's not fair. No, he gently smooths down her hair, and I feel it deep inside my bones that he'd burn the entire world for her. It's not. He holds her head when, just a couple of minutes later, a new wave of nausea has her dry retching into a bucket. We stay with her until she falls asleep, clutching both our hands with her little fingers. When we step out of the room, there are deep grooves around Lowe's mouth. I'm going to take her to human territory, he says to the others, in that alpha decree tone of his that doesn't allow pushback. I'll find a doctor who won't ask too many questions or perform any unnecessary exams. It's not ideal, but we simply don't know enough about her human half, even at baseline, to interpret. I do, I interrupt. Everyone turns to gawk at me. At least I have more experience with humans than you guys. Actually, Cal starts. Experience with humans that doesn't involve murdering them, I tell him with a pointed look. He concedes that I'm right with a sheepish nod. But Mick, who's usually my ally, scratches his neck and says in a pained tone, Misery, it's a really kind offer, but you're not a human, you're a vampire. I lived among humans for 1.5 decades, with a human sister. You're saying you know what's wrong with her? Lowe asks me. No, but I'm fairly sure it's either bacterial or viral, and I know what meds Serena used for each. They're all still looking at me skeptically. Listen, I'm not saying this is foolproof, and I'm no physician, but it's probably better than moving her while she's already so weak, or exposing her to someone who might figure out her situation. It seems risky, and there's no telling what could go wrong. Mick sighs and shakes his head. We should take her to human territory, Lowe. I can do it myself. I'll be quick about it and have her back. Do you have the names of the drugs? Lowe interrupts, looking at me. I can write them down for you. You'll need to go to a human pharmacy, most of which will be closed by now, and you'd normally need a prescription, but I don't need that. I grin. I figured. I have no doubt that someone like Lowe can slip in and out of other territories undetected. Lowe, Misery's friend, was fully human. Mick is protesting a lot, which is probably related to how invested he is. Lowe said that he lost his son, and I wonder if that has anything to do with the attachment he's formed to Anna. True, I say gently, but any doctor will evaluate her as a fully human child, too. There is simply no one like Anna. We might as well use Serena as a template. I agree, Juno intervenes. We should trust Misery. Mick looks on the verge of complaining again, so Lowe clasps his hand around his shoulder. If this doesn't work, we will take her to a doctor. Tomorrow. He's back in less than an hour. We're all waiting for him with Anna, but his eyes meet mine first when he steps inside. His knuckles are dusted with green blood as he hands me the meds, and I'm relieved to find no traces of red. I make quick work of smashing the pills for Anna, like I used to for Serena before she learned how to gulp them down, an embarrassingly recent development. Why so many? Anna whines. Because we don't know exactly what you have, I explain. These will help whether it's a virus or bacteria, and this other one will lower your fever. Now quit bitching. She says the pills taste like poison, which earns me several nasty looks from the peanut gallery. I decide to make myself scarce and go look for Alex, hoping he's still awake. I'm in luck, because I find him in Lowe's office. I walk up behind him, curious about what has him so engrossed that he didn't hear me coming. Playing smuggled human games, and GTA no less, at your boss's desk. The sheer gall of today's workforce. Shit a brick. He almost falls off his chair. Where are you? You're so close all of a sudden. I had garlic for lunch and my blood is probably poisonous to you. I give him my best disappointed pout. I missed you too. We're intercepting, right? He nods, still clutching his chest. Yes, I'm getting great signal. Emery can't book a chiropractor appointment without us knowing. Lovely. Anything yet? He shakes his head. His nostrils twitch. You smell different. That's why I didn't notice you coming in. Oh, maybe my vampiric stench is growing on you. No, you smell like. By the way, Lowe asked us to work on a project. I interrupt. It's a lie, but I don't think Lowe will mind. What? It's something that just occurred to me because of what Anna said. Misha gets to have 2 parents and I get none. When trying to figure out who told Serena about Anna, we assumed that it couldn't be her father, because he never believed Maria when she said she was pregnant. But what if that's not the whole story? He wants us to get a list of humans who were part of the Humanware Bureau, say, 10 to 5 years ago. It is safer than saying 8. Alex is not stupid. Lowe is looking for people who would have interacted with Wurzin in his pack. He blinks curiously. Why? I don't know. Something came up when we were at Emery's, and he said he'd need to know. Maybe I'm a better actor than I gave myself credit for. Any person who worked for the Bureau. No other criteria. I run a hand through my hair thinking. Men, just men. Okay, yeah, sure. Do you have time to start now? I smile as fanglessly as I can. Or are you too busy playing pretend street gangster? He flushes a cute shade of green, clears his throat, and we spend the next hour finding very little because of the disorganized mess of the human archives. We give up when Alex starts yawning. "Oh my God," he says after I stand to leave. "What?" His eyes are moon-wide. "I got it." "Got what?" "What you smell like." "Fuck, good night, Alex." "Why do you smell like my alpha marked you?" is the last thing I hear as I head back to Anna's room. Mick and Cal have left, but Lowe and Juno are standing outside of his room, talking in hushed tones. They fall silent when I arrive and turn to me with heavy eyes. I freeze. Shit, is she okay? Juno's response only lags about a second, but my stomach's weight doubles. Her fever broke, and she's been able to keep liquids down. She said your gross stuff, direct quote, made her feel much better. I smile. Really? Yup. She gives her alpha an appraising look. Her eyes bounce between the two of us, and then she adds, "You guys make a surprisingly good team." It was mostly me. I dust off the dress I put on for dinner and am somehow still wearing. Juno's mouth twitches. Just take the compliment. Fine, I concede, watching her wave at Lowe and leave. This friendship, or lack of enmity, appears to be highly rewarding to my dopaminergic system. I expect to find Lowe smiling. Instead, he's staring at me with a grave, almost haunted expression. Is Honor asleep? He nods. Do you want to sleep in my bed? His throat bobs before it occurs to me to clarify. I sleep in the closet anyway, and you could keep the door open in case Anna wakes up, and I'm not coming on to you while your sister is still sick because of what happened between us earlier, I finish, considerably less strongly than I began. But I don't think he cares. Honestly, I doubt he's listening. He nods robotically, and once he follows me inside my room, his gaze fixes on the night outside the window, on something that might not even be there. There is an unpleasant twist in my throat. I sit on the bare mattress and softly call, "Lowe." He doesn't respond. His eyes, pale and otherworldly, stick to the darkness. Are you okay? I'm afraid he'll ignore this question, too, but a few minutes later he shakes his head. Slowly, he turns and comes to stand in front of me. "What if you hadn't been here?" he murmurs. "I what?" "If you hadn't been here, with your knowledge of human anatomy," his jaw works, "I'd have had to choose between her health and her safety." Ah, I see now where all of this is coming from. I see it and I feel it, deep in the pit of my stomach, a stone sinking heavily. It'll be okay. She'll be okay. It's probably just the flu. What if next time it's something more serious? Something she needs extensive human medical care for? It won't. Like I said, she'll be okay. Will she? He asks, in a tone that makes it impossible for me to lie. The truth is, I don't know. I have no idea whether Anna will be okay. I have no idea whether Lowe and I will be okay. I have no idea whether Serena is alive. I have no fucking idea whether a war is inevitable, whether my people care enough about me not to leave me here as its first casualty, whether every single choice I've made since the day I turned 18 was a mistake. I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea what has happened, and it's terrifying. I respect Lowe, this man who feels so similar to me, this man I've known less than a handful of weeks, and yet cannot quite make myself not trust. I respect him too much to lie to him, or to lie to myself in his presence. So I say, "I'm not sure," and it's barely a whisper, but he hears me. He nods, and I nod, and when he sinks to his knees, when he buries his face in my lap, I welcome him. Let my hands run over his soft hair. Feel his deep inhale. His shoulders, so broad and strong, rise and fall. I slide my hand down the back of his neck, inside his shirt, hoping my cool skin will be as soothing as his heat is to me. "Misery," he sighs, and his breath warms the skin of my belly through the fabric of the dress. And I'm still alone, still different, still mostly on my own, but maybe a little less than usual. His fingers close softly around my ankle, the metal of his wedding band hot against skin and bones, and for the first time in more than I can remember, I feel held. "I'm here," I say, only in my head, "with you." We stay like that for longer than I can keep track of. Chapter 19. She is fearless, and the thought terrifies him. This question you just asked me, I don't like it. Not rolling my eyes at Owen requires a degree of control over my ocular muscles I didn't know I had. Normally, I wouldn't bother with civility, but I need my brother to get me some answers. On the plus side, Ludwig is not paying attention to my call. Earlier today, when I found him in the sunroom trimming a rose plant and asked whether I could chat with my brother, he looked at me like I was asking for permission to get a liger tattoo. I don't care. Lowe said your movements are not to be restricted. Call whoever you like. A pause. Maybe avoid phone sex, but really it's up to you. Is phone sex even a thing anymore? Pretty sure all kinds of sex are a thing, and will be till the sun swallows the earth. He went back to pruning, then added, if you're ordering pizza, get extra large. I'm not sure why a vampire would order pizza, but I'd love to be on the phone with some bored teenager trying to upsell me some garlic knots, and not at the mercy of a less-than-loving brother's judgment. Your dislike breaks my heart, I tell him in the tongue, straight-faced. Please answer anyway. Who have you fed from? I straighten my face, even more. I didn't say I fed from someone. No, you asked whether there can be any negative consequences if a live source is fed upon, and I brilliantly deduced it. Because you've never exhibited any curiosity on the topic before, and I'm not a damn idiot. Who? I let out a deep breath. Who do you think? He facepalms. Your husband, your husband, your alpha were husband. Please. Did you force him? What? No. His curse is not soft. Do not tell father this happened. Why? He'd try to exploit it. How is? In what way is there anything to exploit about this? He pinches the bridge of his nose. Misery, do you know nothing? What should I know? How did you not just pick up stuff growing up? The noise that comes out of my throat has Ludwig checking in on me. From whom? From my human caregivers. Okay. His hands lift, a silent order for me to stay quiet while he collects himself. I consider hanging up on him and asking father out of spite. It's not normal for him to let you feed, for any word to let a vampire feed. Maybe Lowe doesn't know that. Our species have been enemies for centuries. Do you think they didn't grow up thinking that being sucked on by a leech is the highest level of defilement? Do you think using his blood to keep alive the people who killed his ancestors is something his pack will be okay with? I remember Emery's disgusted expression. Her seconds gasps. Even Cone had to suppress his initial shock at seeing my marks on Lowe's neck. And Lowe, pulling me to himself after I said I wasn't okay. Lowe is different. Clearly this is something you should bring to your grave. It's obvious that there is some friendship here. I think about it for a minute, then nod. So he took a liking to you. He rubs his forehead. This is weird. I'm glad you're alive and maybe going to stay that way, but it's weirder than that, when I fed from him. Misery, he gives me a blistering look. I went through puberty in vampire territory. I know exactly what happened when you fed from him. Please, do not continue. People who shared a placenta for 9 months should not talk about this stuff. Am I flushing? I am. We're dizygotic twins, which means that we never shared a placenta or an umbilical cord. A womb at best, really. Still, do not subject me to a retelling. Owen tips his head back and looks at the ceiling. Can you just tell me if there will be any negative consequences for Lowe? I want to be sure I didn't harm him. Owen sighs. As long as you didn't take too much, he'll be fine. And you'll probably be fine, too. Honestly, there aren't that many case studies of vampires feeding from wers. Okay, phew. Thank you for letting me know. Have a good life. I'm hanging up now. Misery, listen carefully. There is a reason our species decided to transition from live feeding as soon as the technology to safely draw and store blood became available. Drinking from a live source is not just something that's hard to tease apart from sex. It has hormonal and biological consequences that are trivial in the moment, but might build up in the long run. That's why it's been discouraged among vampires for centuries. We need to fuck as many people as we can and reproduce, not form bonds. Repeat feedings create complex dynamics that... He stops abruptly, shaking his head. His expression has softened, and I wonder if he has done it before, if it's something he'd want to do with someone else. Don't do it again, Misery. Be his friend. Build a chicken coop with him. Fuck him if you want. But do not feed from Lowe Moreland again. The irritation of being told what to do by my useless brother sticks with me the entire night. I'm still miffed hours later, when I wander into the kitchen after reading a story to Anna about an annoying llama who's being deservedly bullied by a goat. The place is dark and deserted, so I open my fridge and take out the jar of peanut butter. It's not like I plan to feed from Lowe ever again, nor do I think he'd appreciate it, given the questionable side effects. I'm here to find Serena, and I've not forgotten, but Owen has no right to. The man you and Alex are looking for. He's Anna's father, isn't he? Yeah, I shrug mechanically, dipping the tip of a spoon in the peanut butter. I figured it'd be the most likely way, Serena. I turn around, abruptly realizing that I'm not having a conversation with myself anymore. Lowe stands by the table, arms crossed, eyes veiled with something. When did you get here? Just now. Oh, we haven't really talked since 2 nights ago, when we awkwardly untangled from each other after Anna woke up and called for a glass of water. He stood in front of me, as earnest and shaken as I felt, and then left to take care of her. I slipped into my closet, under the mound of pillows and blankets, smiling a little when I overheard them talking about the pink giraffe in hushed tones. Okay, Anna named her Sparkles too. Yesterday was some sort of hearing day, with lots of words coming over to bring concerns, advice, requests to their alpha. I remained very out of the way for that, but most of the meetings happened in the pier area, and from my window it was fascinating, witnessing the span of Lowe's responsibilities. I couldn't help overhearing how warmly and easily he interacted with pack members, and how many of them lingered just to exchange a joke or to mention how relieved they are that Roscoe is gone. I guess I felt envious. Maybe I, too, wanted a minute with the alpha. Maybe during our trip I got used to having him nearby. Anna's father, why? He talks like we're past preambles, and I think we might be. Why not? He lifts one eyebrow. What if he did know? What if he did believe your mother eventually? What if he told someone else? He tilts his head, curious and wolf-like, and hums for me to continue. Serena was a lot of things, but computer savvy wasn't one of them. Nothing as tragic as you. I power through Lowe's glare. But if I wasn't able to find traces of Anna while snooping around, it's very unlikely she came across it on her own. Which means that someone must have told her, and we need to figure out who. I shake my head, marveling for the millionth time at Anna's existence. She's here. She's perfect. She's like nothing I've ever conceived of before. How the fuck did Serena get embroiled with her? The theory I keep coming back to is someone pitching Anna's story to a hungry young journalist. But the Serena I know would never go public with Anna's identity. Lowe, if it makes you uncomfortable, if you feel like this is intruding on your mother's privacy, I'm okay with pursuing this one on my own. It doesn't. What you're saying makes sense, and I wish I'd thought of it sooner. Okay, well, glad to have you on board. Juno did say that we make a good team. And you replied that. Who even remembers? I gesture breezily and feel my face slowly widen into a smug grin, one with fangs. He smiles back, small and warm. And then we seem to reach an impasse. I'm not sure what to say, neither is he, and the events of the last time, no, 2 times we were together finally catch up with us. I'm no coward, but I don't think I can bear it. I've been wanting to be in his presence, but now I'm not sure what to do with him. So I dip my spoon in the peanut butter jar once more, just to keep busy and stuff it in my mouth. Well, I think I'm overdue for my nightly bath, just to avoid smelling like phlegm. After that, I have a hot date with Alex, so. Does phlegm smell? He asks. Does it? No clue. Where's don't get colds? Stop bragging. Do you get colds? Nope, but I'm classy about it. You'd be classier if you didn't have peanut butter on your nose. Damn, where? He doesn't say, but comes forward to show me, walking into me until I'm nestled between him and the counter, and Am I cornered here? By a wolf, the stuff of boogeyman tales. Yes. Yes, I'm cornered, and no, I'm not scared. Here, his hand swipes the tip of my nose. He holds his fingertip up to show me the small clump of peanut butter. I should be wondering how it got there to begin with. What I do, instead, is lean forward and lick it off Lowe's thumb. I regret it instantly. I don't regret it at all. I contain every pair of opposing feelings as his eyes, pupils expanding in a way mine could never, fix on my mouth in an entranced, absent way. I should not have done it. My stomach twists in what feels like pain and something else, something sweet and hot. Anna's feeling much better, I say, hoping that it'll diffuse this thick tension between us. We're a seesaw, Lowe and I constantly pushing and pulling for a precarious balance on the brink of this. Whatever this is that we are always about to fall into, alternating in chaos. She's completely healed, he agrees. We're too close to be having this conversation. We're just really close. Back to her pestering self. He takes a small step back, barely an inch, and I almost cry with relief or disappointment or both. Yeah, he says, even though there's no question to answer. It's punctuation he's leaving. He's about to. Wait, I blurt out. He stops, doesn't even ask me why I'm keeping him here, tethered to me. He knows. The atmosphere between us is too awkward and rich and lush for him not to know. Do you, he starts, with a small, abortive, uncharacteristically insecure gesture of his hand, just as I say, when did? We fall silent at once, letting the sentences swing between us. The silence swells, triples, and when it reaches critical mass, it bursts inside my head. This time I'm the one moving closer. My head swims deliciously. What's happening? What is this thing between us? I don't know, he says, and then, that was a lie, I do know. I know, too. My stomach is an empty, open ache. You have a mate. He nods slowly. It's never far from my mind. And I'm a vampire. I have to lick my fangs to make sure that I really am one, because my people don't itch to touch his. It's simply not how things go. You are. His eyes are on my teeth, and yeah, he doesn't mind them at all. This can't be real, can it? He is silent, like I have to work through the answer on my own, and he cannot do it for me. It just feels real, I tell him. I'm heated, glowing. I didn't think my body was capable of these temperatures. I'm afraid I'm misinterpreting, maybe. One of his hands, large and warm, curves around my waist, tentative at first, then firm, like a single touch is enough to double his greed. It's okay, Misery. His thumb climbs to the back of my neck, rubbing over the fine hairs at my nape, and I shiver in his arms. It can just be us, he whispers. Suddenly, I'm not sure that there's something wrong about the fact that we're about to kiss. It feels right, for sure. I've never kissed anyone before, and I like the idea of my first being special. And Lowe is that and more. I'm unsteady, muddled, off balance, but it's normal. Who wouldn't be next to someone like him, someone who'd carry them through? So I stretch on the tips of my toes, leaning into his touch, and I feel shaky. I feel ready. I feel happy. I feel lightheaded, as though I'm made of glass, about to shatter into pieces. My limbs have never been this heavy, and I wish I could just drop to the ground. Yes, I think. I'll just let myself do that. Misery, the mix of worry and fear in his voice is unexpected. Why are you so? Searing pain stabs throughout my body, and that's when the world turns pitch dark. Chapter 20. Whoever did this will pay. Slowly. Painfully. The next few hours are sheer, concentrated agony. The mere act of breathing is an ordeal. My stomach hurts like it's about to digest itself, bruised from the inside out by 1,000 wild creatures who are having way too much fun carving their name in its lining with a rusty knife. There are several moments, and then a single one long, protracted, when I'm sure, just sure, that this is the end. No living being can sustain this level of torment, and I'm going to die. Which is just fine. Nothing can be worse than what I'm experiencing. I welcome the blissful release of nothingness and all that good shit, but just when I'm about to tip into the void, something pulls me back. First, there's someone. Okay, Lowe, yes, Lowe, giving orders, barking orders, growling orders. Or perhaps not Lowe because I've never seen him anyway but in control. He sounds desperate, which makes me want to crawl out of my corner of pain and reassure him that it'll be okay. Maybe not me, but everything else. And yet, I'm unable to speak for Ian's. Many, many times I drift right up to the edge of consciousness, only to sink back into sweaty, suffocating darkness. And when I finally manage to drag my eyes open, there she is. Dr. Averill. I try to say, but my tongue is glued to the roof of my mouth. I know him, the Collateral's official physician, with diplomatic passage into human territory where he'd give me annual checkups to ensure that I remained healthy enough to be killed if the alliance dissolved, I guess. His duties must have expanded, which is a shame because he looks as ancient now as he did when I was 10. Except that there's something weird about him. Is he experimenting with facial hair? Little Misery Lark, it's been a while. Not the mustache. I slur, delirious, unable to keep my eyelids up. He clucks his tongue. If you have the energy to question my appearance, maybe you don't need this painkiller, he mutters in the tongue, ornery as always. I would beg my apologies, claw that syringe out of his hands and into my body, but the needle is already pushing into my arm. The burning quiets. There are voices from inside the room or several miles away. Her organism deals with the poison. She'll gradually slip into a healing trance. She'll look very still, and you'll be worried that she's dead. But it's simply the vampire way. How long? Lowe asks. Several hours, days maybe. Don't look at me like that, young man. A few muttered curses. What do I do? There's nothing to do. It's her body's job to combat the infection now. But what do I do for her? Dr. Averill sighs. Make her comfortable. At some point after she wakes up, she'll need to feed more than usual in quantity and in frequency. Make sure that you have blood at her disposal, the fresher the better. A long pause. I picture Lowe running a hand over his jaw, his worried gesture. And of course, there's the matter of her father. I'll have to inform Councilman Lark about what happened. He might see this as an act of aggression, even a war declaration against the vampires. Dr. Averill's voice fades, and I fall back inside myself. I need to rest. No. Come on, Lowe, you need to sleep. I'll watch over her while you... No. Take Anna away. We cannot be sure that Anna was the real target, Mick protests. The intended victim could have been Misery. But what if Anna was? Juno points out. We shouldn't risk it. Agreed, Cal says. Let's move Anna to a safe place until we find out who did this. We all know it was Emery, Mick. I know no such thing, and I'm done assuming. Lowe is icily, murderously angry. My wife was on the brink of death until hours ago. I'm going to move Anna to a safe place. This is not up for discussion. Where will you move her? Mick asks. That's for me to know. Cool lips press a soft kiss into my feverish palm. Misery. I come out of the healing trance all at once, like a salmon bursting from a stream. I sit up in bed, clammy and breathless and utterly disoriented, and wait for the pain to make itself known. I expect it to follow its usual roads, start from my stomach, irradiate out to my limbs, rake through my nerves like an army of knives. When nothing happens, I look down at my body in bafflement, wondering where it's gone. But there it is, colder than usual, perhaps, paler, definitely, intact, ultimately. Healed, I pull back the covers to test that theory. The large white t-shirt I'm wearing doesn't belong to me, but the pretty lace underwear is mine, courtesy of the wedding stylist. I haven't worn it since the ceremony, and I refuse to wonder how it ended up on me. Instead, I stand. Even though I'm wobblier than a newborn calf, my legs are functional. I push through the exhaustion and force myself to walk. The clock on the wall says 1:30 in the morning, and the house is dead silent, but I'm fairly sure that more than a few hours have passed since I first lost consciousness. Did I skip a day? I have no phone to check, so I do the pre-technology thing, head outside to ask someone. Hopefully, not the person who poisoned my peanut butter. I open the door to a dimly lit hallway and almost stumble on the pile of clothes right outside. Anna giving her dolls another makeover, I bet. I hold on to the wall and weakly step around it, but the pile moves. It uncurls, then gets up, then stretches very much like a cat would. Then it opens its eyes, which happen to be a very beautiful, very pale, very familiar green. Because it's not a pile at all. It's a wolf, curled outside my room, guarding my door. A huge white wolf. A fucking gigantic white wolf. Lowe, my voice is unused and rusty. I may have been out more than just one day. Is that you? The wolf blinks at me, still enjoying his stretch. I blink back, hopefully stumbling on the Morse code for PLS, 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 don't eat me. I don't want to assume, but the eyes look like yours and... He trots to me, and I scurry back in a blast of panic, plastering myself to the wall. Oh shit. Oh shit. He's just so much larger than Cal, so much larger than I thought wolves could be. I squeeze my eyes shut, not wanting a high-def view of my duodenum getting ripped out of my abdominal cavity and then eaten. And then something soft and damp pokes me in the hip. I crack one eyelid open, and there it is, a muzzle pressing against my skin, pushing gently but firmly, like he's hurting me, back inside the room. You want me to? He doesn't reply, but he radiates satisfaction when I take a few steps back, and when I stop, he nudges me again, even more insistent. Okay, I'm going. I march back where I came from. The wolf follows at my heels, and once we're both in the room, angles his body and closes the door with more ease than anyone without opposable thumbs should display. Lowe, I just want to be sure, the eyes seem proof enough, but, God, I'm exhausted. It is you, right? He pads to me. You're not Juno, or Mick, please tell me you're not Ken doll. A soft, rumbly noise rises from the back of his throat. I guess I expected your fur would be dark, because your hair is. I let him prod me toward the bed. Yes, I'm going back to sleep. I feel like total shit, but not the bed, please, the closet. He understands, because he closes his very impressive jaws around a pillow and carries it to the closet, and then does the same with a blanket under my bemused stare. God, you're just so fluffy, and, sorry, but you're kinda cute. I know you could murder me in less time than it takes to stick a straw in a blood bag, but you're soft, and your coat is not even sparkly pink. I don't know what you were embarrassed about, you majestic fluffball. Yes, fine, I'm going. He all but drags me to the closet and doesn't stop bossing me around until I'm lying down in my favorite spot. I wonder how he managed to find it. Might be a scent thing. FYI, your alpha tendencies are even worse in this form. His tongue darts out and licks at my neck. You, gross, I giggle. His teeth close around my arm, a joking, playful warning that could shatter my ulna, but won't. Can I pet you? His head turns to butt under my hand. Yes, please. Well then, I half laugh, half yawn, scratching him behind the ears, luxuriating in the beautiful, comforting feeling of his coat. It's not hard to ask, not when he's in this form, a fierce hunter who loves a cuddle. Do you want to stay? Sleep with me. Apparently, it's not hard to say yes, either. Lowe doesn't hesitate before curling right next to me. And when I inhale deeply, the smell of his heartbeat is all it's always been. Familiar, spicy, rich. I fall asleep twined with him, feeling safer than ever before. Chapter 21. She told him vampires do not dream. And yet, once her midday rest is over and the evening approaches, her sleep becomes fitful, agitated. His touch seems to comfort her, and the thought fills him with pride and purpose. Serena arrived at the collateral residence at the end of a pleasantly mild January, many months after I first moved in, and came of age at the beginning of an unpleasantly wet April, spent crunching numbers to see how long the transitional sum of money allotted to her by the Human Vampire Bureau would stretch in the real world. The rain ticked and ticked, incessant against the window panes. We packed our bags and tried to decide what pieces of the past decade to bring into our new lives, sifting through memories, splitting apart the ones we hated from the ones we still hated, but could not bear to let go. That's when he arrived, a child of 8, the new collateral sent from the vampires for his official vesting ceremony. He was escorted by Dr. Averill and several other counselors I recalled meeting at various diplomatic relations. A sea of lilac eyes. Conspicuously, not the boy's parents. It was a sign that we were taking too long to vacate the premises, but we didn't speed up. Instead, Serena stared at the child roaming the spotless hallways in which we'd skinned our knees, fought over hide-and-seek rules, practiced less-than-video-worthy choreographies, ranted about the casual cruelty of our caregivers, wondered if we'd ever fit in somewhere, panicked over how to keep in touch after the end of our time together. "Why are they always children?" she asked me. "He must be related to someone important," I shrugged. "That's how you make the collateral a deterrent, by taking the heir to a prominent family, someone who's valued by a person in power." She snorted. "They haven't met your father." "Ouch," I said with a laugh. The child heard it and wandered our way, eyes lingering on my mouth, as though he suspected I might be like him. When he approached us, Serena dropped to her knees to level with him. "If you don't want to be here," she said, "if you'd rather come with us, just say the word." I don't think she had a plan, not even a contrived, improbable one only for show, and I don't know how we would have rescued, abducted, the child if he'd asked us to whisk him away. Where would we have kept him? How would we have protected him? But it's who Serena was, badass, caring, committed to doing the right thing. The child said, "This is an honor." He sounded rehearsed, too formal for his years. Not at all like I did when I was 9 and begged father to let me go back to vampire territory over and over and over again. "I am to be the collateral, and that is a privilege." He turned around and left. I was of age, and finally free, and chose not to attend his ceremony. This is not a core memory for me. I barely ever recall it, but I'm thinking about it now, awake just before sundown. Perhaps because of what came after the child left us. Serena, furiously determined to burn down the entire world, the vampires, the humans, and whoever else made themselves an accomplice of the collateral system. I listened to her rant without quite understanding her, because the most I could feel was resignation. There was little fight left in me, and I simply couldn't afford to spend it on something hopeless and unchangeable when waking up every morning in a hostile world was already so exhausting. Her anger was admirable, but I didn't get it then. I get it now, though. In the fuzzy, yellow light filtering into my closet and splattering over the walls, in the worn-out ache that has nested in my bones, I get her anger now. Something within me must have changed, but I still feel like a fairly accurate version of myself, exhausted but furious. Above all, glad to be alive, because I have something to do, something I care for, people I want to keep safe. And I need you to care about one single fucking thing, misery, one thing that's not me. Well, Serena, you're still part of this, whether you want it or not. But there's Anna, too. And Lowe, who really needs someone to take care of him. In fact, I should go to him. Standing takes me several tries. He's not in his room, so I wrap a blanket around my shoulders and make my way downstairs. The trip feels 5 times longer than usual, but when I walk into the living room, he's there, surrounded by over a dozen people. His seconds, all of them. A few of them I know, but most I'm seeing for the first time. It must be a meeting, because everyone looks pinch-eyed and serious. A handsome with cornrows is saying something about supplies, and I catch the tail end of his explanation, see several people nod, and then lose track when a familiar voice asks a follow-up question. Because it's Lowe's. The rest of the room fades. I sink into the doorframe and stare at his familiar face, the dark shadows under his clear eyes and the stubble he hasn't bothered shaving. He speaks with patience and authority, and I find myself lingering, listening to the rhythm of his deep voice, if not to the content, my marrow-deep exhaustion soothed at last. Then he stops. His body tenses as he turns, at once intensely focused on me. Everyone else stares, too, not quite with the thinly veiled distrust I'd expect from them. "You should go," Lowe commands somberly. "I'll see you later." "Oh, yeah," I flush. I'm acutely aware that I'm half naked and crashing an important pack meeting that's probably about how to handle their never-ending conflict with my people. I didn't mean to interrupt, but he's crossing to me, and when the seconds stand, I realize that I'm not the one being dismissed. Lowe is in his usual human form, and I wonder whether I hallucinated my encounter with the white wolf. His seconds walk past us, some nodding at me on their way out, a few patting my back, all wishing me well. I'm unsure what to say until Lowe and I are finally alone. So, I gesture at myself with a flourish. It appears that I survived. He nods gravely. My felicitations. Why, thank you. How long was I out? 5 days. I close my eyes. Wow. Yeah, there is a microcosm in the way he says the word. I want to explore it, but I'm distracted by the slight twitch in his fingers, like he's actively stopping himself from reaching out. Are we at war with the vampires? He shakes his head. It came close. The council was not happy. Oh, I bet Father was heartbroken. Not. Lowe's set jaw tells me how perfectly fine Father was. Once we were sure that you'd pull through, Avril pointed out to the council that the poison is toxic to wers, too, and that since you ingested it through wer food, it's unlikely that it was meant for you to begin with. Oh, God. I hide my face into the door jamb. Does Father know about the peanut butter? Is that what worries you? Not sure what it says about me, but yeah, I sigh. Was it meant for Anna? No way to be sure, but she's the only one in the house who eats it regularly, aside from you. I squeeze my eyes, too worn out to deal with the anger sweeping over me. How is she? Safe, away from here. Where? It occurs to me that it might be a secret. Actually, you don't have to tell me. It's probably confidential. He doesn't hesitate. She's with Cone. And yes, it's confidential. No one else knows. Oh, I massage the curve of my neck. It's a level of trust I cannot fathom. Not because I'd ever tell anyone, but because he's aware that I wouldn't, not even if my life depended on it. I care, and he knows. Was it Emery, the Loyals? I don't know, he says carefully. I can't think of anyone else having a motive, let alone the resources for this. But all of Emery's communications are monitored. We have found evidence that she and her people are behind the arson that happened in the spring at one of the schools in the east. But if she's behind Anna's kidnapping attempt, I see no proof of it. He presses his lips together. I'm going to move you, too. Move me. To the vampires, or the humans if you prefer. Cone is also an option. He'd keep you safe, and Anna would love to have you there, and I'd feel better knowing you two are together. Lowe, I take a step closer and shake my head, which apparently now makes me dizzy. This is very much not the first time someone has tried to off me, and I'm not going to. I don't want to go away. Why would I? I thought we're a team, right? And what would even happen with the armistice if I left? It doesn't matter. Your father doesn't need to know. I can take care of everything and make sure that you're as free. No. I don't realize how loudly I spoke until the word echoes through the room. For a split second, I see the guilt and agony Lowe's wrestling with on his face. He sighs and bends his head. I almost got you killed, Misery. You didn't. Someone else did, and we should figure out who. Together. My job is to protect you, and I failed. It happened under my watch, when I was standing inches away from you. There you go. My cheeks heat up. A good reason for me not to leave. In fact, you should keep me even closer. I say it a little flirtatiously, and it messes with his head as much as with mine. He steps into me, inhaling sharply. His words are a heated, barely audible hiss. Do you have no fucking fear? No. I have enough for both of us then. His jaw works, the intensity of his fury thick in the space between us. How are you? He asks after a while, voice once again calm. The change of topic is so brusque, I'm even dizzier. Kinda gross, I shrug. Like there should be flies buzzing around me, but maybe not because they'd stick to my skin. You sweated through your sheets multiple times. A feat, since vampires barely have sweat glands. Did Dr. Avril change them? I did. Oh. Juno helped, sometimes, when I was able to let her, once I calmed down. He wipes his palm down his face. It's hard for me. What is? To see you like that. To let anyone else touch you when you're hurt or sick or just. I didn't need that qualifier, actually. To let anyone else touch you is. He rubs the back of his hand against his mouth. I can't quite follow, and then I can when he says, I'm not sure who I can trust anymore. I won't let you. I reach out to clasp his shoulders. Lowe, there's no letting, and you can trust me. I smile up at him. Please, I'm going to stay, and I'm going to help, and I'm going to. I take a deep breath. No, God, no. Shower, I'm going to shower. I had not realized how bad I stink. I am offending myself. He studies me, undoubtedly preparing more rebuttals, lining up arguments, all ready to drive me away. But they never come. Instead, the corner of his mouth lifts into a soft smile, and he abruptly picks me up, arms under my back and knees. What is happening? You do need washing, he agrees, carrying me out of the room. Are you going to hose me off in the garden? We'll see. But he brings me to my bathroom, deposits me on the marble counter, and draws a bath. I'm not so weak that I couldn't do this on my own, but I enjoy watching his graceful movements, the hypnotic play of muscles under his t-shirt as he bends to fill the tub. The water level slowly rises, and he tests the temperature with his fingers. I think about Owen, the only person who may have been remotely upset by me being on the brink of death. I should contact him. I should ask after Lowe's mate. As though we're collateral, she must have been terrified because my death would lead to hers. I bet Lowe was acutely aware and feared for his mate. But I also believe that he cares for me, deeply. He chooses a lavender bottle from the shelf. I can't smell its scent, but as steam fills the room, I pack my lungs with warm air. I may not be who Lowe was meant for, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something here. And I've had so little throughout my life, I know better than to demand all or nothing. I'm good at making do. It's ready, he says with his deep, mundane voice. It's a dreamlike sequence, but we're on the same page. I slide to my feet and untie my hair, running a hand through it until it falls limp around my shoulders. I take everything else off and stand naked, skin pale and cool and tacky. Should I be nervous? Because I'm not, Lowe. I'm not sure how he feels. He certainly doesn't pretend to be uninterested and looks his fill, following each curve of mine more than once, betraying little but hiding nothing. I'm not made like a werewolf. I'm not toned and have no defined muscles. Either Lowe knew to expect it or he doesn't mind. His eyes glaze over as I step forward and I take his hand when he offers it. I'm drowsy, wobbly-kneed. He lowers me into the tub. This feels nice. I sigh once I'm submerged. I lean forward, forehead against my knees, letting my hair float around me. It does. He's not in the bath, but perhaps he's referring to the shaky warmth of this unspoken agreement. This moment we're sharing. He takes a washcloth from the shelf and dips it into the water. His first pass is delicate over my bent neck. So you're one of them, I say, instantly relaxed under his touch. Of who? People who use washcloths. I hear his smile in his voice. If you have a sponge. I don't use anything, I offer. Because it's very much an offer. A request, even. But he says nothing and continues with my arms, starting from the ball of my shoulder. His hands are firm but lightly trembling. He might be more tense about this than I am. It seemed too forward, he admits at last. His cheekbones are dusted with an olive tone, his voice husky. He patiently works his way to my ankle, then slowly up my leg. I decide to be forward. I take his hand into mine and stroke each knuckle with my thumb, one by one, and once his guard is relaxed, I steal the cloth from him and let it float away. I know he wants to touch me. I know he won't ask. I know he needs me to do this. Put his hand back on my knee, this time without barriers. His breath hitches, then comes faster. His jaw shifts, like he's biting the inside of his mouth. The skin of my thigh glistens under his eyes, and his fingers tighten around my flesh, on the verge of something wonderful, something we both want. But Lowe talks himself out of it. He squeezes his eyes and stands to take care of my back. I swallow a whimper. Coward, I whisper good-naturedly. In retaliation, he leans in to kiss my nape like he did on the plane, sucking and licking and some gentle biting. A subtle reminder that he's different from me, a whole other species. If we do this, we'll have to work things out. Do you? How doers have sex? He laughs softly against my skin, but I sense an edge. Are you worried? I tip my head back. Should I be? He massages my sternum. I'm not going to hurt you, not ever. I know, I'm not sure why I asked. I close my eyes, and he takes the invitation as what it is. I lose myself in his touch, wondering how something that requires so little can feel so good. He lingers on my breasts, around my hips, but also everywhere else. All the curves and angles, all the soft, vulnerable places. My skin tingles, simmering with an unknown sort of pleasure. Lowe is painstaking. He finds spots he wants to explore, slows down, and his breath grows heavy in my ears, broken by soft hums of approval. He takes his time, delays moving on until he's satisfied that his task has been completed. There is something patently sexual about this, no question, but it goes beyond. I'm being discovered, mapped, soothed, and ignited at once. You are so beautiful, he whispers, an absent-minded thought more than a declaration, and suddenly I can't stand it anymore. Eyes closed, my hand searches for his under the water. I braid our fingers together and guide them to my inner thigh. It's a silent plea. I'm just so tired, I sigh, and I really want it. God, Misery. His heartbeat smells like he'd die for this. And yet he's about to ask me if I'm really sure, and I'm going to laugh at him. Or snarl. Lowe, will you help, please? His fuck is soft and awestruck, but his fingers shift to where I need them. Barely a brush of knuckles against my labia, but I hiss right as he inhales. Our breaths catch together, balancing in the room. Okay, a rumble from deep in his chest. Okay. The pad of his thumb finds my clit in warm, rhythmic circles. Lowe licks his lips and half asks, half growls, like this. I nod. It's not what I'd do for myself, but it works, somehow even better. There is some clumsiness on both our ends, but he figures out where to touch me. How long, how hard. Yes. I bite into my lower lip, fangs exposed, and press into him. The night we met, when you came down the mezzanine stairs, he groans against my shoulder. I thought about doing this. There must be something dramatically, massively compatible between us, because I feel every stroke of his fingers deep inside this soul that I'm not supposed to have. Yeah. The hot, mounting sensation in my lower belly knots into a tangle of heat. I squirm, arch my back. Cool air sweeps over my wet nipples. You looked cold in your jumpsuit. He sucks at the same spot on my neck that he fixated on back at Emory, S, on the tarmac. You looked so lovely and so determined and so fucking lonely. I grind against his hand, shamelessly whimpering at the empty, swollen feeling inside me, clutching blindly at his muscled arm with both hands. I thought about taking you away. I thought about getting you a blanket. His index finger slips inside me, and with a brief adjustment, I push against it. I thought about making you come with my mouth until you couldn't take it anymore. The pleasure snaps inside me like fireworks, a glow of heat and relief. I clench around Lowe's hand, curling into his arm, shaking all over it. A scream burns in my throat, but I swallow it down into a small moan, and then it's a mess, cobbled together with fluttering heartbeats and gasping breaths. Lowe is staring at me, mouth parted, throat bobbing. His icy eyes flare into mine, and I laugh, throaty and raspy. What? He sounds winded. Just a hairbreadth from an unspecified turning point. I'm still pulsating around his hand, and he stares at the water sloshing around my hard nipples while licking his lips. I clear my throat, still laughing. Could we kiss? What? We haven't yet. It'd be nice if we did, at some point. At some point, he repeats in a haze. His hand cups the slick inside of my thigh, vibrating with restraint. Now if you want, though I'm worried. He scowls, worried. About my fangs. What if I cut you, or bite your lips accidentally? You've bitten me before, I didn't mind then. He leans forward, eager. I won't mind now. It doesn't immediately work. My nose bumps against his. I cock my head a little too quickly. My hands glide off the slippery edge of the tub. Misery, he murmurs against the corner of my mouth, when his lips somehow end up there, sounding more delighted than dismayed by my lack of skills. But then we get the hang of it, and oh. It's a messy kiss. Instantly, stunningly good. I'm cautious, afraid I'll hurt him, but Lowe's the unrestrained one. Feral. He's the one who moves everything along, who nibbles and sucks and bruises. He uses his thumb to tilt my jaw upward, gripping my neck with his large palm once he's satisfied with my position. It's very deep, very quickly, and I give myself to it, to the filthy way he angles me as though he wants to know my taste from every side. I pull back to breathe, but he only gives me a second before asking for more. He licks my fangs, and I feel it deep in my core. His desire bursts between us, longing, frustrated. I want to do something about it. For him. Lowe, I mumble against his mouth, forcing myself to stand. Warm water sluices over my skin, and he follows the journey of every single drop. He leans forward to press his lips to the soft skin underneath my belly button, then rises to towel me dry. The front of his shirt is wet. My lashes are clumpy, beaded with water, and he kisses the drops out of my eyes. I was scared. It comes out like a confession. You went limp in my arms, and I was so fucking scared. I nod. I was too. His eyes are paler than ever. Come here. He picks me up again, and I want to remind him that I'm not defenseless, but this might be more for him than me. So I bury my face into his neck and instinctively dart my tongue to lick the glands he told me about. His entire body shudders, and then we're in my room. I expect us to tumble onto my mattress, but he lowers me inside the closet, on the mound of blankets and pillows I've assembled, then instantly pulls back. Lowe. The timbre of his voice is rough and low. You smell like you just came. I stare back, speechless at his directness. I did just come. And I need to eat you out. He needs to. Okay. It's a worth thing, he says, almost apologetic. I nod, and when he bends to nip at my hip bone, I close my eyes and welcome it. The stretch of my thighs as they are spread out, the hitch of his breath as he looks and looks and looks some more, his raspy groan, and then the contact with his mouth. There is something beseeching about the way he licks and sucks, something not quite in control, and when the pleasure begins fizzing in my stomach again, I writhe against his lips and give him what he wants. I comb my fingers in his short hair, but he takes my hands, both wrists locked in his large fingers, and pins them to my side. Be still, he orders, and the sight of me restrained must do something for him, because his other arm disappears down his body, the rhythmic flex of his corded shoulder a mesmerizing sight. He's touching himself because what he's doing to me makes him want to, and the idea is like fire in my belly. I can't, I hiss out, arching into him even more. Hush! My brain cannot unravel how much he seems to be enjoying this, the sounds he produces, the consuming way he kisses my clit and my opening, the sweet scrape of his stubble against the crease of my thighs. I'm mindless, completely unraveled, and I'm dragging him with me. You are fucking unreal, he says, and when a knuckle slides inside me, I feel myself clench around it. I don't think Lowe is inexperienced, but there is an edge to his movements, something more enthusiastic than skilled, something just perfect. He gently bites my swollen lips, making me jolt, and then chases the sting with his tongue. When the heat rises in my chest, when the pressure coils and I thrash around, he anchors me with an arm over my hip bone. That's what has my legs quivering and my nipples aching and me coming hard. Lowe's presence surrounding me, taking up every molecule of air. Once I'm a shaking mess, he groans against my pussy and lets out a low, I'm going to. His grip on my thighs becomes nearly painful. His hips jerk, and my heels dig into his shoulder as the pleasure crests violently inside me once again. I probably black out a little, because when everything recedes, I find Lowe crowding my body, still hard against my hip. His jeans are warm and sticky. His heartbeat pounds on the back of my tongue as he guides my head to his neck. I think, he says, winded, hoarse, I'm going to lock you in this closet forever. I nuzzle closer. I think I'd love that. My fangs graze against his vein until he growls. I reach for the button of his jeans, fumble with it, and I almost have it open when his phone rings. I whimper, disappointed. Lowe clutches my hip once, forcefully, then again before letting go. He vibrates with frustrated tension as he disentangles us. He sighs heavily after checking the caller ID and hands the phone to me with shaky hands. I reach for my discarded towel to cover myself and try not to pay attention to the way Lowe is breathing deeply, trying to calm himself down. Owen's formal, "Congratulations on evading your first assassination attempt," is so factually incorrect, I almost hang up on him. "My first, excuse me." He rolls his eyes. "I meant in this round of collateral duties. My apologies. Allow me to restate. I fucking told you this would happen and you need to come back home immediately." "Home?" I drum my fingers against my chin. "You mean to the people who sent me twice into enemy territory?" "They technically sent you into Ally territory, and you almost got killed, so get your ass back here." I open my mouth to ask him if father has died and made him councilman, then close it when Lowe enters the screen. "Her safety is my priority," he tells Owen in a stately manner. My brother studies my bare shoulders. The wet t-shirt contest condition Lowe's chest appears to be in, the flush on both our cheeks, and says, "You two really are fucking, huh?" It's not a question. I turn to look at Lowe, who turns to look at me, and we both get a little lost in the exchange. "Not yet, I think." "I wish we were," he seems to say. "Maybe we could." "Stop fucking each other in front of me. This is incest. Bestiality at the very least. Misery." Owen switches to the tongue. "There is something I need to tell you about your friend." "In English," I interrupt. He gives me an incredulous look, eyes darting between me and Lowe. "He's helping me search for Serena," I explain. "He's helping you?" "Yup." He rolls his eyes again. "Your friend's apartment was broken into 3 days ago." "What?" I shift forward. "By whom?" "Not sure, because whoever did it also messed with the cameras in the apartment complex. But I'm having some friends look into alternative sources." "Like what?" "Footage from security, cameras in the surrounding buildings." "Did they take anything?" Lowe asks. "Very difficult to tell, considering the state they left the place in." I massage my temple, wondering for a millionth time what Serena got herself involved in. "And there's more," Owen adds. "Something important, but I can't talk about it on the phone, so we'll need to meet in person." I glance at Lowe. "Could we arrange it?" "Yes, give me a few hours." "Very well." He nods at Lowe, then switches back to the tongue. "I am glad you're still with me." His eyes meet mine, and I almost believe he means it. When I notice the brackets on each side of his mouth, it occurs to me that there's an air about my usually carefree, glib brother that mirrors Lowe's. Tired, worried, heavy. "I'm glad to still be with you," I reply. "It might be the most vulnerable we've been with each other. Marriage is making a sap out of me. And whatever is happening between you two, fuck it out of your system before people find out." He hangs up, and I instantly turn to Lowe. "Will we really?" I ask. His eyes are instantly hooded. His lips move unintelligibly for a few moments. "The things I want to." "I mean, will we be meeting him in person?" "Ah," he clears his throat, "as soon as I can arrange it." I nod gratefully. "Thank you. The other thing too, I would." His phone rings again. He picks up with a curt "Low," peeling his eyes from mine with great effort. "Yeah, of course, I'll take care of it." He slips the phone in his pocket and then lingers here on the floor of my closet more than is necessary. "I have to go pack business, and I should get changed first, but I'll be back soon." "Okay, I'll be here, I guess." I'm not sure what to say. All that happened in the past hour is slowly solidifying, becoming concrete and awkward between us. I think he wants to stay. I think I want him to stay. "Be good," he says, getting up. And then immediately crouches down again, just to kiss my forehead.